Let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safeway Liquid Beer for the podcast.
We ride again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello. It's that static AM radio. It's the Cool Bed Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and log in with some sirloin bites.
I'm not ready for this.
Let's go! Wow! Are you?
Yeah, baby. Let's go, LT.
I'm going to try my damnedest not to swear on this show today, but I just might.
It's okay. We're not governed by CRTC rules.
YouTube Trev, you saw him on the camera there. Another Canada jersey. Wil Fraser, Lieutenant Eric, Dustin Nielsen, off ill. I don't know what to say.
Well, he needs to prep himself for his home team playing the United States tonight. So
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I asked the question earlier on, is this the best of the best on best? 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well here on YouTube, because it's not an unfair question to say that these are the best players skill-wise. We've entered out of hockey's doldrums of tough guy stuff.
Okay.
And this is like running the sport of hockey through a Brita filtration system.
A Brita filtration
You get
system.
all...
Did they pay for that?
To have them mentioned on the show?
Yeah.
19 more times
Yeah,
for the 3 hours here. But I just... Because I didn't see that coming.
You didn't see it coming?
No. I want to...
Huh.
I'd like to take this time.
Yeah, no, but listen. This apology is sincere.
I would like to apologize.
There you go.
For ever doubting or questioning or just having a childlike curiosity on what this tournament might turn out to be. Because boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. I think I speak for everyone when I say, told you so.
I'll wear it. I'll wear it. 780-218-9999.
No, you won't.
Touche. Nielson Show presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot out in Fort Saskatchewan. www.southfortchev.com. We are coming to you live as well from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. It's hot in here. And it was hot at YouTube Trev's place last night, too. It was hot in Montreal. It was hot all over this nation. Somebody asked me where I'm watching the game. I said I'm watching in Canada. You kind of felt, the whole... Right?
Got you there, didn't he?
A nation together. If they win, though, gold, we're having a day off.
Is it a gold?
It's a gold. You get a trophy and a gold and cash.
Like they get medals.
You get medals.
Yes. Maybe that's what the Stanley Cup needs. It's not just a cup, but medals.
Well, and I'm going to pose a question as well that we were talking about off air, and we're going to get to that here during a few segments today. But it's full, as it says in the title, Four Nations fever. Dusty's got it. And you might be coming down with a little case of it yourself by the end of today's show.
Trey Kroners? More like Trey Losers, am I right?
Heavy is the head that wears three crowns. Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Let's bring in YouTube Trev. You saw him dancing there. He's...
he couldn't be happier.
No, he's...
Yeah.
What's up, boys? Let's go. How's it going?
Let's go.
Let's go. That intro was awesome, man. I'm so pumped right now. Team Canada reigns supreme. They are the best. We are the best. Let's freaking go.
Best between them and Sweden in overtime. They still have two other nations to play.
In 10 minutes of 3-on-3 overtime.
10 minutes of 3-on-3, which everybody loves.
Yeah, who doesn't?
That was something to see. And
nothing feels more legitimate, right? Than 3-on-3 overtime wins.
Well, you really have the...
I agree.
The 5-on-5 is the best. But when you get it down to 3...
Yeah.
Really spices it up.
Well, that is the best.
It is, yeah. It's the best of the best, as LT says.
No, but I'm not wrong here.
Simply the best.
Simply the best.
I know you can go back to Canada memories. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of pure hockey skill.
Right.
No?
Well, I might agree with that, but
Really?
I sense a little sarcasm there, LT. Are you being sarcastic?
No.
You pulling my leg?
No.
You're what
Because
you
the
mean
question,
what you say
the question going into yesterday was what would the effort level be?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
The effort level was there. Shay Theodore broke his wrist.
Sure.
He was balling out. Everybody was balling out. But the skill compiled, and now just looking at Canada.
Right. Thank you.
Right? Because in years past, you would have had guys on the team that maybe would have brought a little more, shall we say, physicality or different aspects of the game. This is pure skill.
As far as skill goes, I would have to say that, this team probably ranks up there with one of the most skilled teams ever.
Yeah.
You don't, and Will's laughing at you. You don't think so, Will?
No, I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so?
I can't do this.
No, but okay, I know you know me. I'm not even.
I'm buying into it.
Yes,
but
I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm glad you are.
I don't know
Listen,
if LT's leading me astray here.
I don't need to be old guy here, you know, being a wet blanket and saying like, there was that whole, Salt Lake City team that, maybe.
Okay, but that's more fairy tale-esque.
Had a Mario Lemieux and a Joe Sakic on the ice.
But these are guys that smoked cigarettes and did all that. I'm just saying, you
had a blue line with a Chris Pronger and an Al McInnes and a Scott Niedermayer.
That's fine. But these guys are more advanced. They have sleep schedules. They do edibles. They play video games
between the pipes. Yeah, like
goaltending was better.
Yeah,
I will say
and
that.
defense.
Well, goaltending was more invested in, I guess. But if they still go on and win the thing with the skill that they've compiled, this is the most skill. We're all calling Sidney Crosby one of the best players ever to play the game in terms, and not point production or goal scoring or individual metrics. No, but why are you laughing?
I know he's laughing at
I'm
me.
trying to.
No, I agree.
You get what I'm putting down, and I know that yesterday because I came in with a few questions, and they were just, I just didn't know how it might go.
Yep.
Clearly better than an all-star game.
We all agree that Sidney Crosby is one of the greatest to ever play. Now, not by any measurable number, but we'll agree on it.
Heart, cups, things such as that sort. In this, he is there. And now you've got Connor McDavid, who we're all saying is an alien and superhuman in terms of skill.
He is an alien.
He doesn't even need to be front and center.
Right.
So if that's the case, is this the best of the best on best?
It's so
From
best.
Canada's terms.
Sure.
You would agree, Trev.
Sure.
I buy into it.
I don't
yes,
argue with
I
people
do.
without shirts on. Like, that's just a general rule in my life. As soon as nipples come out, I tend to...
You like what you see,
Yeah,
eh?
I tend to just be
intimidated.
in agreement.
I
That's just... Why mess with a good thing?
That's fair.
Share your thoughts either in the nasty chat or the Paris Jewelers inbox. Valentine's Day is on its way tomorrow. Hey?
It came early.
Well, I was going to send a little something over to your house, but I think I'll just save the
no
money.
need.
And,
Yeah.
no need.
This is my candygram right here. Yeah.
Nice.
780-218-9999. It is the Paris Jewelers inbox, the Bling Box. Once again, you are playing Text of the Day for A&W today, $20 to A&W. So text in your thoughts. It's going to be a heavy hockey show, obviously.
Hockey.
Yes, and we'll get to that as well with the heavy hockey showdown here
Heavy
coming
hockey.
up. I'm going to have more on that later on in the program.
Thank
But
God Travis Kokechny's out there.
are you done
No, I'm not.
making fun of this? The opening hour, pretty wide open as well. So again, share your thoughts. We're going to dive into the fan zone for fans
Fan
first.
zone.
That's going to be revolving around last night's game and leading into tonight. That hurts as well. Probably focus on a little Shay Theodore there, as he will be missing the remainder of the tournament. So a little bit of roster juggling already for
He had
Cooper.
his feelings hurt. Is that what has knocked him out for
Can
the
we call
tournament?
John Cooper Coop?
Oh, Coop. Coop! When did John Cooper get so old?
You do look like you got the headphones in. You know you can. Coop! Hey, Coop!
Hey, Coop!
Hey, Coop!
I wish.
Right. Well, you got the hair going. and everything.
R.I.P., right?
Yeah, you got the hair going.
R.I.P.
Luke Gazdic will be by. He was on the Sportsnet broadcast breaking down last night's Canada win over Sweden. So we'll get his thoughts, his analysis. Where does the team go from here? Of course, the big showdown Saturday.
No, keep going. keep going. I'm in complete agreement. Oh, man, how did that happen?
Well, none of this was planned, clearly.
Really?
It was all off the
You were
cuff.
choreographing it all morning.
Luke Gazdic, once again, 7:05 for Pro-Am Sports. He'll share his thoughts. He was great with Osmac and Reed last night post-game. That was a trio that would make Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid blush on the Sportsnet panel.
I used to sit next to Reed up at Oilers games. He was, and still is, one of the best in the biz.
Ivanka Osmac really loves the Oscar Clefbaum goal song.
I bet there's a lot about Oscar Clefbaum she really loves. There's a lot about Oscar Clefbaum I really love.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
So Gaz will be by 7:05 to share his thoughts. Cool, but Canada Hotline today. We'll dive back into the Four Nations. Take a little look tonight. Finland and the USA as the tournament continues from Montreal. I got beef. 7:30. Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. If you have any beefs, feel free. You always have something. Instead of writing it into the Stony Plain Tribune,
The reporter.
Is that
Plain
yes,
reporter.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
yeah.
Will present one of his
Parkland
editorials.
Examiner and
The Parkland. I like an examiner.
I think it was the Spruce Grove exam. I think it's for all of Parkland County now. Yeah.
Trev, you have a beef? Don't tell us, but
Yeah, I do got a beef.
yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, I got a beef. I got a beef. Oh, and I can't wait to say it.
Can't wait.
Tune in. So what time?
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah.
Okay, be there for this all-time beef.
Gregor McKellar as well, one of the Elks' new offensive linemen. He'll be joining us around 7:40, 7:45 this morning. Interesting fellow, Canadian, lobster fisherman, a bagpipe player. In fact, a champion bagpipe player at not just
scare the lobsters.
not just. I like him playing them out of the water. Like that's
like
his
as a siren
the
call.
fishing whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll be by one of the many free agent acquisitions that Ed Hervey and the Elks made during the tampering window, and of course this week as it officially opened up. You're having a great time this morning. Hey, this is
You are 500 degrees, man. You are on fire. Yeah.
yeah, it's hot.
Yeah.
Running hot. So he'll be by Gregor McKellar, 7:45 Elks offensive lineman. We'll get back to hockey. Kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many. The trivia and the questions. You'll have to bounce around on that.
right.
We always love a kind of easy trivia when Will's in the chair. Fired up for Gemco Fireplaces. Will be fired up. Four Nations.
Turned up.
Yep. CFL and TSN's Dave Naylor will also be by at around 8:30 to talk a little CFL free agency, a recap of what's happened, some of the winners, losers, quality over quantity, or vice versa. So we'll get his thoughts on a league view of the free agent window, Marmot Basin Snow Report, and the wrap for William Huff. Will, thanks for coming by again as well. Your
My
services
pleasure.
are always appreciated here. I know.
Yep.
Iwanek always he doesn't like reach. He feels guilty reaching out to you, I think. But you
Really?
yeah.
He shouldn't. I am the undersized donut spare tire in everyone's trunk.
Just to give the listeners and viewers an update too, you don't actually do anything else.
Right. I just wait for the call.
Yeah, so it's not like we're pulling you out of things. You have to move things around,
No,
or your kids are out of the house.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part.
Yeah. Listen, usually spend my days shouting at scam callers. So this is a nice break.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, they're still probably going to call me, so I may have to take a call, but I'll be back.
Save it for I Got Beef.
Yeah. I don't have any ducks to clean.
Once again, 780-218-9999. I see what you did there. Binnington was channeling his inner Skinner, Shaggy in St. Albert says. Cal in St. Albert says, I thought Comrade Will's paper of choice would be the Daily Worker. As we go back to your, Soviet type of socialist
well, yeah, but
undertones.
That sounds like a lot.
It's a Worker Monthly.
Weekly
okay.
Weekly Worker.
Yeah. Barry the Cheater says, looks cold in the studio. No, it's actually quite, we're all...
I don't know why you'd say that.
Your zip, quarter zip, I guess that would be.
No, this is a full zip.
Is it full zip?
Yeah.
Oh, the white line.
I wore this in honor of Team Sweden. This is my Nordic wear.
Here's a first-time texter. NHL may have struck gold with this Four Nations thing. That was a great game. I even felt a tingle of national pride. Mr. Dobalina, you can call me Bob.
Would we feel the same way if it was 4-3 Sweden in overtime?
But it's not, so nobody cares.
Right?
And I want to get into this right now, and it is the Fan Zone here on the Nielsen Show.
Zone.
Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev. I batted this idea around, and why just have a taste? Why just have a taste?
Let's keep going.
When this tournament was announced, and it's funny that this first-time texter says the NHL may have struck gold because this is an NHL event and the owners, and all this stuff. But I ask you, listeners and viewers, and feel free, chime in. Nasty chat, it's humming. Once again, if you are watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, give us a like, and subscribe to the channel. But get into an argument on there. Text in Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Why not more of this?
Why not more of this?
Why not more of this? And we've said do away with the All-Star game because that essentially does mean nothing, right? Players don't grow up wanting to wear the Western Conference kit or the whatever team OV kit. That's fine. We've acknowledged that. But when you pull on the Maple Leaf or the Stars and Stripes or the Trey Kroner, why should it just be for this week and a half, 2 weeks?
Right.
Why cannot we open this thing up? And I know you'll say, oh, but that'll just be exhibition hockey. No. Follow along here. In terms of World Cup qualifying, I know it was announced yesterday, they're going to have the Olympics, and then every 2 years, the World Cup of hockey is going to come back and all this stuff. But don't you want more of this? It's so good. We're not coming in this morning, and I know the text was on Skinner there, and but we're not bitching and moaning about Skinner. We're not bitching and moaning about Evan Bouchard making or some fourth liner doing something stupid. If the best on the best is something so good and what we want, why can't we find a way, the NHL, I'm talking to you, to have a little bit more of it? Just a bit more. I'm not getting too greedy here.
Yeah.
But we talked international windows during the season where we can all congregate as a nation. You say, hey, you made the example, say, last week in November.
Yep.
We turn off for a week. Your clubs take a break. The rest of the guys go to Punta Cana and everybody else. And then the games happen. Say Edmonton hosts a Canada and Finland.
Yeah.
Who says no?
Who says? Like,
and I know.
Yeah, we know who says. Like,
but again, if they struck gold with this idea, there's more gold to be excavated.
Not to burnish my daily worker creds, but it's because of billionaires. That's why. Like. But much like most problems in the world, it's the billionaires' fault. But
if you found gold, why would you just say, I'm just going to get the gold on the surface without digging any deeper?
But you're saying they found gold on an entertainment level. They haven't actually found gold. In fact, this costs money. Right? There's very little ways for a group of 32 people to actually make money off of a tournament
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah,
look at the appetite for this, right?
Yeah, but no, they're used to owning stuff, and they wouldn't own this, and that's the problem, right? Like, if it was Team Chevrolet versus Team Ford, then maybe you would get more buy-in from billionaires, but
just
it's not.
Strap the logo on the jersey.
Yeah, well, listen, I would like to see more of this.
Nobody cared about Rogers being on the silks.
But I mean, the Shay Theodore injury is the perfect example of why we don't get more of this, is because the Vegas Golden Knights are now going to be depleted in the regular season because of this tournament.
This was a minor issue that some people had identified going into this.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen to your team, it's fine.
Right.
As you say, if Sweden would have won in overtime last night, it's maybe a different story. But Trev, you would not want more of this, would you?
The fans are always going to want more of this. Of course.
So,
but the fans aren't in charge.
Yeah, but there's ways to make money off of them. There's ways to make money,
right? Like the fans would like to have a proper point system in the NHL, but that doesn't generate as much money as the convoluted.
Where there's a will, there's a way. There's got to be, again, strap a Chevrolet logo on the back by the nameplate, and away we go. You know, you want more of this.
Oh yeah. I mean, sign me up. I've been waiting for this for so long.
Absolutely.
Crosby, McDavid. When in 2018, I remember watching it like it was yesterday. They announced, it was breaking news, that NHL players would not be going to the Olympics, and I was just devastated. I was it hit me, man. I was like, are you kidding me? And it's so easy for me to say because I'm not a billionaire and I don't have the money, and I get that aspect from it, but I'm more of a history buff. I love that. And if I was a billionaire, I'd like to be like, you know what, well, money's one thing, but this is history. You can't buy this. So I'm always on the side of a fan. I will always be on, lean towards that side of things. I thought it was awesome. And that's why I'm dialed in, because if it wasn't for, Gary Bettman, his reasons for not competing in the 2018 Olympics, whatever, that was annoying. They were going to in 2022. And then obviously COVID happened. You never know that's going to happen, right? And if it wasn't for any of that, this never would have been a thing. And so it's annoying. Like, I get that, people are like, it's a silly tournament or whatever, but
it's not, though.
At the end of the day, like, it's as soon as you put on that jersey, you're repping Team Canada.
Right.
I'm a sucker. I'm sold.
Absolutely.
Right?
But if that happens, more.
Right.
And there's got to be a way for them to benefit financially off of it.
The
because you would sign up for that. The only thing that's missing is
the way I've had it explained to me is that professional sports in North America it's a real estate play. And so, like, the reason why you have a team is not to have a team to entertain your fans. You have a team because you have an 18 to 20,000 seat building that needs dates filled, right? Every night that everything is dark is costing you money. And so that's the problem with a tournament like this, is that last night you had 12 NHL buildings that weren't in action. Well, actually, no, there was only one NHL. So you had 15 NHL buildings that were dark last night. Now, listen, you're going to fill that with concerts and monster truck and what have you, but it doesn't have the same return as the sporting event does.
But I think if you get a product like this that leaves people frothing so much at the mouth, there's got to be a way to extract the financial side of it.
Professional sports has very little to do with what the fan in general wants. It has to do with what those 18,000 people are willing to spend. And if you can't get them into the building to spend, you're not going to make the same amount of money. So listen, I think the television networks love it. I think the fans love it. I don't think the owners love it. I think the owners begrudgingly accept it because it was a point of contention in a collective bargaining.
Spoken like a true worker.
Well, listen, if not
subscribe to his newsletter today.
If not for a players union, we don't have this right now. Right? If not for a group of players saying we'll take less to get this, we don't have this.
The Knox continue to fly in on Shay Theodore representing Canada, but also getting injured and out for the remainder of the tournament. 780-218-9999. Sheldon, not in a white garbage truck, says Vegas losing Theodore for any part of the regular season is just a slap on the wrist. Atif says Theodore getting injured couldn't happen to a better team. Yeah. Vegas. So we were cheering for him in one breath,
Yeah.
and then once he gets hurt, it's like, ha, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
It's weird that you can kind of put on that jersey, take it off, and then put on the club one right away.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
Hockey fans going to be so upset when they put him on long-term injured reserve and then add another player into his
this
slot
was their play
and
all
then
along. This was their play all along.
Playoffs. Yeah.
This is the Fan Zone, brought to you by Fans
Fan
First.
Zone.
Fansfirst.ca, by fans, for fans, no fees. We are in a celebratory mood today, obviously, Canada. In overtime, thrilling fashion, and that's where we're going to go next.
There's a real gladiator-esque sort of feeling.
To my physique?
No, yes. Yes, and.
Yes, and. Somebody was waiting for your yes ands yesterday.
Yes, and.
Yes.
You could have been pro-tournament. You could have been anti-tournament. At the end of the day, you were entertained by what happened last night.
I don't think the question of, I knew we would be entertained.
Yeah.
Like, that was not,
Well, but
you know what I'm saying?
I think there was a certain amount of people who were like, is anyone going to care? And the truth is, as soon as you had that level of talent and you put national symbols on the front of them,
Yeah.
you were going to care.
But I still think sometimes people just don't care, and that's okay. Some people didn't care about the halftime show at Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's...
Are you supposed to care about the halftime show?
Some people do.
Okay.
Some people are really, really invested in it.
Okay.
And they can't believe that people such as yourself don't care.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like, you
now-
can care about whatever you
Now,
want.
don't misinterpret not caring to being against it.
Yeah. But that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
If you're not...
Yeah. If you're not pro, you're against. It's a
And I don't
binary
think that's-
choice.
Yeah, I don't
you're
think
right.
that's
Yeah.
really the case
And that's
here.
not what it is.
No. And... I mean, again, to
I think
anybody,
it's
who
pretty
thought
hard-
collecting all of these players and donning them in Canada drapes would lead to
I
just
think it's pretty hard to not care about the Four Nations.
Well, if you don't care about hockey, you wouldn't care about it. Like
do you think-
Canada's been.
I think if you're a sports fan, you're at least
You
at
may
the very
not,
least
though. You may not.
entertained.
You might not. You go entertained.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can find it entertaining.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Canada's represented in multiple sports that people don't care about.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like the whole patriotism thing is kind of it's not an automatic that when you see an athlete donning a maple leaf that you're.
See, listen, no one cares about steeple racing, but if there's a Canadian with a chance to medal, you'll tune in.
I
Right?
won't.
Like,
Well-
but you've been against steeple racing ever since its inception.
Too much money in that
Yeah,
sport.
exactly. It's
but I
been
want to
corrupted.
let's sticking with the fan zone though. The 10-minute overtime though. I mean, that's something the NHL. If we're looking at experiments and picking things out of the tournament,
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
you don't care.
I don't think their current system is all that broken.
Yeah, but the 3-on-3.
Yeah.
Follow me here. This
'Kay.
is like that
'Kay.
doll thing.
Yeah.
Best on best tournament.
Yeah.
You then whittle the 5 players on the ice down to the best 3 with
Okay.
open ice.
Yeah.
Again, Trev, you would agree. More of that, please. Right? 10 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of that, you're robbed. 10 minutes is.
Yeah, like I don't think there's anything terribly wrong with what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
I just think the 3-on-3 overtime, it kind of shows the depth of the best teams in the league.
What do you mean the depth?
Well, like you're gonna,
it allows you to shorten
eventually-
your bench. Like,
Well,
what
yeah,
it-
but
what-
eventually the guys were getting tired, and that's kind of what McKinnon said after post game yesterday. He was against it. He's like, no, like if they're gonna have me going out there. They asked him, like, would you like the NHL to adopt this in regular season play? And he was like, no, like, I'd be so tired. 5 minutes is fine, maybe 7 minutes. But by the end, like, I'm not going to be able, it's like, Nathan, you're not going to be playing the whole overtime.
Yeah.
Like, your team depth will show up. And
Yeah.
so to that extent, you'd have the Stars obviously play the first 5, the majority, 80% of it. But you will get a little bit more of the Arvidssons, if you will, in the 3-on-3 OT. So I'm for it. I thought it was exciting. That's probably the most exciting thing that hockey has is 3-on-3 overtime right now.
And when you have the best, like,
and when it's the best on best.
as you said, when you're playing, if the Oilers are playing the Sharks, I mean, and no offense to Celebrini or whatever, but you're playing some of the lesser thans.
Yeah.
This is pure stuff.
Oh, it's pure. It's absolutely pure. Seeing Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid go on the ice last night. I know someone already said I got beef that didn't start the OT. They had Crosby. Or no, they had McDavid, Marner, and Makar, which was still pretty good. But I mean, goosebumps. Absolute goosebumps. Shivers down my spine. You should have seen me.
Rock hard.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I tell you, it's annoying. I recorded
It's just like
myself.
Guy Flaming's tweet.
Oh, yeah. It's fairly accurate. I recorded myself because I wanted to post my reaction after they won, and that's kind of a little bit of my I got beef. My camera, I ran out of film.
You ran out of film.
Yeah, so it went out, and
What a
right
time.
before I'm like, oh, here they come. Oh, and then it died. And I'm like,
You're
are you kidding
Super
me?
8. Just
He went in the dark room and started
Yeah.
looking at the net. What? They didn't take.
Yeah, pretty much.
all right. The lens cap on.
We'll get to
Yep.
a sports update right now. YouTube Trev's got that. He'll let you know what else happened in sports, but of course we're in a
Nothing.
celebratory mood. Bang on.
People
Bang
passing
on.
out from holding their breath. That's what happened.
The world is on its knees. RBM's got a great text as well here. They're trying to grow the game, are they not? Sometimes you need to eat the cost in order to grow. You can say that about life in general, really. Look at the NBA, and we talked about the NBA and the NHL and how, before we got on air this morning, but they're having their in-season tournament every year, and it seems like it's going to be a hit. And that's not even at an international level either, which really can't happen because in basketball, it's USA and everyone else. Just your quick thoughts on that, because I know we mentioned the NBA and the NHL, do kind of suffocate from the international growth.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're trying to grow the game. No, they're not. Like that is a lip service that they pay to excuse actions that they take that you don't like, right? When you don't like something as a fan, they will come to you and be like, but we're trying to grow the game. They're not trying to grow the game. They are fiefdoms, and they are trying to protect what they already have and increase their franchise's value. You can't increase your franchise's value if you have too much of it, right? Like this is an artificially restricted sport, just like the NBA is. The NBA should be a global sport. Basketball is, but high-level professional basketball is still only played in North America. High-level professional hockey is still only played in North America. So, I think it's nice to think that they want to grow the game, but they don't. They want to keep control of it.
A lot of people saying Russia needs to get their act together. And I thought it was fiefdom, not fiefdom.
Okay.
Jordan says, welcome back, Will. We'll get to more on the Four Nations coming up. YouTube
Like the
Trev's got a
singer
sports update.
Fife? Is that?
Yeah, Fife. Yeah.
Oh, that-
fiefdom.
That makes more sense.
It's fiefdom? This is the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev, brought to you by South Ford Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot today. Coming to you live
It's
from the Popeyes
fiefdom.
Louisiana
That's
Kitchen
what it
studio. And it's your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, edmontonsportstalk.com.
It was Mitch Marner who got the overtime winner in a 4-3 match that saw Canada beat Sweden in Game 1 of the Four Nations face-off. Sidney Crosby was awarded the player of the game as he chipped in 3 apples, but it wasn't all sunshines, and rainbows as Canadian defenseman Shay Theodore has been ruled out the entire tournament after he sustained a wrist injury in the first period. Canada will be back in action on Saturday when they take on the Americans. Puck drop for this one goes at 6 o'clock, and only one game in the Four Nations tonight, which sees Team USA take on Team Finland at 6. Just 3 games last night in the WHL. The Oil Kings get the job done with a 5-2 victory over the Pats. The Tigers prevail against the Raiders. 3-1 is your score, and the Lethbridge Hurricanes rally with the 3-1 win over the Red Deer Rebels. The Oil Kings will be back in action on Friday where they'll take on the Red Deer Rebels. Off the ice and on the court we go. Nuggets' Jamal Murray sets a Canadian scoring record with 55 points versus the Trailblazers en route to a 132-121 victory. 14 other games in the association last night. RJ Barrett led the way for the Raptors with 27 points, but it wasn't enough as the Raps fall to the East leading Cavaliers 131-108. The Jazz defeat the Lakers 131-119. The Mavs hold on with a 111-107 win over the Warriors. And the league-leading Thunder stay red hot with a win over the Heat. 115-101 is the score in that one. Tonight, just 5 games in the association. I'm YouTube Trev. Let's go Canada. You're up to date.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in, I tune in, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting in the nasty chat, what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. No more interference from corporate interest. Just Tuffy and Eric and all of the bad cats. Like Brzezinski and Noodles, Gazdic and Gage. Maybe it's fun but a cool band to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday mandate. Shaggy's always on time, Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number one in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some hot takes and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I wanna kiss away? Beat left the tire fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about the games? Macramella, Rapaport, Gregor Engineer. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. But then my cousin and the tales of the north. All about him give a present, Dusty go forth. What say you? AM Nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
6:39. This is the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, and YouTube Trev with you here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. We are streaming on the iHeart TuneIn radio apps, and of course live crystal clear on YouTube this morning. Give us a like, give us a follow as well to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. The Nasty Chat is humming along. We do have a poll up as well with regards to last night's game. A 4-3 Canada overtime win at the Four Nations down in Montreal over Sweden to open up the tournament. Tournament play continues later tonight. It'll be the USA taking on Finland, the two other of the Four Nations taking to the ice for their first game of the tournament. We are coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio today as well. You can get some Popeyes today, the deal they currently have out right now. The value menu, 5-piece nugget, fried pickles, mini chicken wrap, mini chicken sandwich, and blackened cauliflower, all for $4 plus tax. Perfect snackable items that can round out your favorite Popeyes meal. Anytime during the day, you can pop by that drive-thru and you just get a snack. I would play the bingo game where you try to get all menu items in a day, but from a different location. You know, driving around, doing whatever you're going to do. I'm going to pop in $4. Give me that cauliflower, and away you go. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. That, too, has been taking a pounding this morning. Troll says, you guys are onto something. How many sports have sold out to Saudi money? Chevy Canadians, Ford Finns, United Airlines, USA, let's go.
Yep.
I'm just saying there has to be a path. If the fever is this high, you have to do something to get... And somebody brought up American television, and I don't want to get into the business side. I kind of want to get into the game here too. But American TV numbers, and I know it's going to hurt to hear, but not the greatest when it comes to watching the NHL.
Well, when it comes to watching anything nowadays,
fair enough. But they do prefer some of the other things on the plate aside to this. But if you gave them more of this, even some of the most hardened hockey critics on Twitter last night were going, guys I follow that only cover the NFL were saying, check this out. Like, this is something. So again, would that not bring more eyes onto the product in some sort of way? And then you grab them and pull them in?
If Team USA is winning.
Yeah, but last night they were watching Canada. Guys down in Louisiana that I follow that cover the Raging Cajuns were like, wow, this McKinnon guy is...
Listen, it is perfectly timed in that the NFL is over.
Okay.
Football is done.
Yep.
So you do have a fan base that is used to having a sport to gather around and watch, that is looking for something. So I do agree. Like that is a bonus for the NHL. They did time this at the absolute perfect time to do it.
That was another kind of wart that people were talking about, was the time. You're never going to get a perfect time, but from that point of view, yes, you are getting the eyeballs. And,
right.
Yeah. I mean, outside of the Beanpot being awarded last weekend, right? Like, they're still coming off that hockey high.
Well, the NFL, they're still coming off of a...
Yeah, but the Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, that...
But the Terriers of Boston U.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. It is a sport that has a rabid local fan base that has always struggled to get anyone to ever care about anything that isn't their home team. And so, yes, Americans will watch if the Americans are winning. If the Americans are not winning, they'll say it's stupid and they won't tune in. Canada versus Sweden.
Is that a familiar refrain that we could be seeing here, guys? I'm just saying, like,
but it's the exact same thing. If Canada loses last night in overtime, we are telling a very different tale about this tournament.
Usually, when our dear nation is out of the World Juniors, the interest level kind of peters off a bit.
Right.
Fair to say. Last night's game, though, kicking off with a bang. I mean, it was nice to see Super Mario there, right? He's kind of I think Tom Gazzola brought it up in the hangout the other day, a bit of a ghost when it comes to, I mean, players when they retire can do whatever they want. In terms of public appearances, he's more on the lesser side, but that was a big moment, a big scene in Montreal, and it was nice to kind of have him there and stealing the show prior to the game. That's kicking it off in a way that I don't think he could have done it any better.
Yeah, Lemieux is an interesting guy to me, and always has been. When you talk about best I ever saw, for me, it's Lemieux, which is different than greatest to ever play. Best I ever saw is Lemieux. But this is a guy that this sport took a lot from him, right? Took his health, took his youth, took money from him. He ended up having to be a part owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins because they couldn't pay him what they owed him. Like, so when people are like, I don't see him around that much, there's probably a reason behind
I'm not saying it's not justified or anything, but I guess when you see a figure such as himself that could be Mount Rushmore in a sense,
yes,
it is a nice treat for just the casual viewer to go, hey, it's Mario Lemieux again.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? But I think in Montreal and having him there. I
also like the mystery of Mario Lemieux. I like that we don't know everything.
Less is more.
Right?
Less is more. Yeah. No, that's fine. I don't mind the private, but Nathan MacKinnon on the power play, I mean, Crosby, McDavid, tic-tac-toe, that's how you draw it up. That's how you all, I mean, you didn't think it was going to be that good.
You asking me? I didn't think it was, I mean, what was it, 10 seconds? It took them to score that?
On the power play.
Yeah.
I was just happy to see that Crosby and McKinnon deferred to McDavid on the power play.
The question was, were people going to pass it around too much?
Right.
Yeah.
Like that was always, that was one of the things I was looking forward to seeing is how are they going to divide the pecking order? Like, these are all guys that ego has been a part of their success, right? Feeling like you're the best player on the ice. And in those moments, would they cede themselves? Would they realize, like, no, in this situation, we actually need the best player to be controlling things? And it was nice to see that Sidney Crosby was like, no, I'll go play the bumper. Like,
yeah,
like I know who is the best guy out here with the puck on his stick, and it's Connor McDavid. And that was, I mean, no one was looking at Nathan MacKinnon.
No.
Right? Including Nathan MacKinnon. Like,
yeah.
Even Nathan MacKinnon was just standing there in no man's land going, this is incredible because there's 3 guys covering McDavid right now. Like, I can basically skate unimpeded to anywhere, and he goes to the perfect spot. And then, of course, you got a guy with the vision of a Sidney Crosby to know that that's where he's going to be. Like,
it was the only power play chance for Canada on the evening, and they cashed in 100%. Sweden going 0 for 1 with the man advantage. And that I do believe was a little later on in the game. So a pretty clean game. And that's what I'm saying. This is what we want hockey to be, right? There's no, Dave said, what else could you want? I said more fighting. but I think, I still
a little bit more physicality wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah.
Like this,
but you're not going to get
kind of a no hitter.
These are highly skilled guys and just skill, and that's what I think hockey has been investing in and leading towards, and this is crystallizing in this tournament. So that's what you want. Brad Marchand. On that note, he gets on the board. 2-0 Canada exiting the first period.
Yeah,
he gets set up from Point and Jarvis. So things looking very good for Canada early on. Jonas Brodin, who hasn't yet made Dusty's top 3,000 list of NHL players. He's ranking every single NHL player. I said yesterday, where's Jonas Brodin? Yeah. And he's not on the list yet. He scores.
And he
for
scored.
Sweden. He scored. Well, hey.
I was like, during the show, was it Jonas Brodin that LT was like, is he on the list? Is he on the list? And I was like, I was waiting.
Well,
I saw
he obviously was listening yesterday.
I think he was.
And said, Mr. Nielsen, I object. And he
put some respect.
He actually he saved me from having a bad hot take.
Jonas Brodin?
Yeah, because by him scoring, I'm not here today going, I can't believe they didn't have Rasmus Anderson on the list
okay. I see.
Because I honestly, when I was looking at the way that they threw it out there to have Rasmus Andersson on the bench, like as a healthy scratch, seemed weird. And then Jonas Brodin hits that, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess they made the right choice.
No, he gets,
what do I know?
And Sweden cobbled it together. I mean, they're getting outshot grossly there early on.
Yeah.
They kind of work themselves into the game. Brodin gets them on the board. And then everybody, Canada's darling, Mark Stone. I know a lot of people in this market probably just love to be on his side here. Crosby's second assist of the evening. Mark Stone, 3-1. At that point, and later on in the second, you're kind of thinking, well, one more maybe puts the shutters on this puppy. We get into the third early on. Kempe, hell of a shot. Eriksson Ek, again, midway through the third to tie things up.
Weak goal.
Hey, well, and we talk about Skinner in this market quite a bit with goals such as that. I think Binnington had an okay night. We'll get into goaltending too. With
Actually, we
Gazdic
did have the text where it was like he was pulling a Skinner, and it's like, no, he wasn't. He was pulling a Binnington. Like,
well, whatever.
Binnington has not been a Stanley Cup caliber goaltender since they won the Stanley Cup.
And a lot of these goaltenders, like the Aiden Hills, I mean, they find themselves in a moment where they get it over the line.
Yeah.
But can you just say, based on that moment, that they've all of a sudden reached God level status in their play, night in, night out, shot out? Like, it's not always like that. So yeah, it's kind of the same with Skinner. I mean, he wins last year in the game 7, and it's a different narrative or whatever. So we're going overtime. This is great. 3-on-3, 10 minutes. Everybody wants it into the veins. And then future Oiler Mitch Marner with the winner. Crosby's third assist of the evening. He gets the first star. When they were chanting Crosby, I thought they were chanting hockey.
We all love hockey.
Well, because it was a moment where you just like,
Hockey's
this
the
is
best.
because it is the 3-on-3, and you're like, this is great. And
Hockey.
hockey.
You know what? That makes it better. I wish it wasn't.
Well, yeah,
I like that.
because why not? Somebody did have an interesting idea in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-298-9999. What was in that gift bag that Crosby got gifted with? It's what Iwanic will be handing out at the Fun Spiel this week.
I loved Crosby's game. I loved it on a couple of different levels. First of all, he was injured heading into this, so it was nice to see that he wasn't as injured as we thought.
Absolutely.
He's also playing on a terrible NHL team that has no chance of doing anything. And so it's nice to see him with an opportunity to do something this year, grabbing it by the horns.
And you're wondering,
like,
I know we're all wondering here when these matchups and these pairings are made.
Yeah.
And McKinnon and Crosby, they were talking post. You go out to Cole Harbor in the summer and you see them whip this thing around with their eyes closed.
Yeah.
I mean, as an Avalanche fan or whomever, because as you say, Penguins, let the sweepstakes begin.
Listen,
and who he can pair up with.
Yeah,
I mean,
if he's willing to be traded, the Pittsburgh Penguins are watching this, rubbing their hands together.
Absolutely.
Understanding that they are
and shouldn't all parties come together and say, let's just
tell you what, like watching
why can't you play with McKinnon
watching
here
him
in your
play at
twilight
that
of your
level,
career?
if I'm the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is Leaf fan is going to be pissed at me, but I just think the guy is a when I say loser, it comes across as like it's a personal attack. I just don't think he is a guy who wins. And that's Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
And like you want to create a package that revolves around Austin Matthews for Sidney Crosby to Toronto Maple Leafs. Like if the Maple Leafs job here, and this is what if I'm a Leafs fan and I'm Leafs management, this is the number one job is win a Stanley Cup. Who gives you a better chance in the playoffs to win a Stanley Cup? Sidney Crosby or Austin Matthews?
And he does commercials too.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
You can still have your...
Like, I'm not talking about prolonged regular season success. I'm not talking about great numbers over the next 5 years. I'm just talking about you've got a 1 to 2 year window here to win a Stanley Cup. Who gives you a better chance? Like, man, I am throwing everything at the wall. If I am a team who thinks I can cobble together a Stanley Cup run, I am watching Sidney Crosby right now going, I think I'll do it. I think I'll throw whatever it needs to be.
And again, Marner with the overtime winners from Crosby.
Yeah.
You've got a connection there already.
Yeah.
McKinnon, Crosby, I mean, goes without saying. Hell, Mark Stone again scored from Crosby. And I know these are just small sample sizes and moments, but I think every GM from those markets could sit there saying,
right?
Interesting.
Well, because
what if
there is a difference between being a really good
trigger.
at hockey and being someone who is a
serial winner, a serial winner,
difference maker. And Sidney Crosby's it, man. Like,
yeah.
Like if I had to go up against him in a Stanley Cup playoff series, it would scare me to death. And Austin Matthews is the exact opposite. Right? You watch,
well, you're waiting for him to crumple.
Right.
You know it's
watch him in the playoffs, he is a cakewalk. He is so inside his own head, you don't have to worry about it. Right. So I think there's a lot of GMs right now, and it's been one game, but I guarantee there's a lot of GMs
We will overreact.
that have a whiteboard today in their pro scouting department, and they are moving stuff around.
Yeah, as you should.
They're playing what if.
Let him go. Sid, move on. Let's do it. I think even as a fan of a team in this conference as well, whether it be the Avalanche or division-wise the Vegas Golden Knights, I mean, it's one of those things where he's unleashed, and you can kind of see in another run at a playoff or something of that nature. Let's get into that hurts quickly here. We got Luke Gazdic coming up. We'll have more on last night's game with him of Sportsnet, but that hurts. James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. When accidents happen, go to jameshbrown.com. The heavy hitters of injury law. Trent and his team will take care of you. They will be beside you every step of the way and get you what you deserve. Not what Shay Theodore, I think, deserved last night. And I know there's that Vegas Golden Knights connection. And I know that once it happens to a Golden Knight, we cheer for Mark Stone, but we laugh at Shay Theodore because, Vegas, here's an injury. You mentioned the LTIR stuff. But that hurts. It hurts for anybody. I don't care who the name is or which team jersey they don during the regular season. It hurts. It hurts for him. It hurts for Coop. I think now you have to I think Elliot Friedman had it. You can't, where is it here? It's a gentleman's agreement on parachuting more players in, if need be. I mean, they're going to go with Sanheim, I guess.
Which is weird to see. Like, once again, the bottom half of this Team Canada roster
8
and the amount of like attaboys they did to like name the roster where it's like, we don't expect him to play, but it'll make his GM feel good or his fan base feel good.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of good Canadian hockey players who are on a beach right now.
It hurts. It hurts for Theodore. It hurts for Cooper. But Shay Theodore will be out of the rest of the tournament. I assume a broken wrist is probably what I don't know if that was officially diagnosed from the
injury,
the X-ray last night. Yeah, UBI for one Shay Theodore. So that hurts. A little bit of negativity, I guess, coming out of the game. We'll see where that goes. It was tight. Shots were pretty low. I mean, overall. They finished 28-26, obviously, with the overtime, but it was kind of a tighter game, I guess you could say, grew into that as Sweden kind of got going there. But, Trev, your thoughts on the Shay Theodore injury? Again, a great defenseman in his own. You don't replace it. Again, I was saying best on best.
A winner,
is this
too.
the best? A winner, yes.
Like
knowing
Shay
what it
Theodore
takes. A little of that DNA in there.
shows up.
Yeah. So what, if any, big of a hit will this be for Team Canada's roster moving forward?
Yeah, he's probably one of the most underrated defensemen in the entire NHL, I'd say. You watch him play, he's just sneaky good. His skating is right up there with the best of the best, and he complimented Makar a lot. Like, that would have been so fun to watch, just their effortless skating. So it's going to hurt the team a lot. That's a big blow. Sanheim is not even close to being as good as Shay Theodore. And hearing John Cooper after the game, like, it hurts. What hurts, it's not the Olympics. It's not anything like that, but he's still playing with Sid McKinnon. I'm just going to refer back to that a lot because at the end of the day, I think that's what's the coolest thing about this. And he said, like, he's repping Team Canada. He's waited his whole life for this because he, kind of like McDavid McKinnon, also didn't get a chance to play for the Olympics, to rep Team Canada at a professional level. So he was devastated after the game. And when you work your butt off to represent Team Canada,
well, he's also been
and you're gone just like that.
He's been an incredibly successful pro.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a lot of world championships either for him.
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
Like,
yeah. No,
when you're constantly going deep in the playoffs, there's not a lot of opportunities for you to play internationally.
Yeah. So it hurts. I'm looking at it as a Team Canada kind of thing. That hurts for Team Canada. I'm not looking at it at the Vegas Golden Knights. Yes, it definitely hurts for them, but
it's just funny
kind of
though,
shutting
like
off the NHL eyes right now, just focusing on this.
it is
tournament.
until it's on your doorstep though, and that's the
That's true. 'Cause
I
as soon as McDavid, you're just like, damn it.
Troll asks, was it Arvidsson that gave a little slash to McDavid's leg on a flyby last night? That made me chuckle.
It was
a
a
bit.
friendly little.
Sure. But I guess yesterday,
love
too, and I
that.
was thinking, like, if Ekholm was going into the corner and saw old 97 and they're digging away, does he go in there full tilt?
I think he's just wired that way.
I think he does. He's a
I know,
competitor.
but something... then what?
Yeah, well,
I just, you
True.
know...
except they're also teammates with him, and so they know he's a freak when it comes to healing. So maybe they don't care.
Yeah, they know something we don't.
Right, exactly.
Into the
Maybe
oxygen
they're
bag.
like,
Yeah.
listen, I've seen this guy come back from every injury 3 months early. Like,
Yeah.
so...
Canada won. A Golden Knight got hurt. We're feeling great this morning.
right.
That's the...
Yeah.
And long may it continue for the duration
Colton
of this
Parayko
tournament.
looked great last night.
Sure, yeah.
He
Like,
did.
there's a lot of good highlights for the Edmonton area.
Yeah, so a bit of a dress rehearsal, I guess, as we slowly crawl up to the NHL trade deadline for some of these guys, and interesting theories and thoughts where you could place some of these players. But that hurts for James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. Once again, check them out today if you've been injured in an accident, jameshbrown.com, the heavy hitters of injury law. More on the Four Nations face-off. Of course, the tournament does continue tonight. USA and Finland back in Montreal. I think somebody else, Library Pat, was he loved seeing Vincent Domfus last night as well. So there's
Vinny D.
you know, who does it up better than old Montreal, hey?
Yeah.
You know, everybody's dressed so nicely and smelling good.
Here's the question for hockey fan, Oiler fan. Can you name the historic line that Vincent Danfus played on in Edmonton?
780-218-9999. We'll find some. Maybe we'll give you a little prize bag that Crosby got for being first star last night as well. Luke Gazdic on the way from Sportsnet, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. This has been the opening hour of the Nielson Show. Of course, Dustin Nielson off ill today. Status TBD. Wil Fraser in the chair as well. YouTube Trev on the sports updates, and that's where we'll go right now. A sports update for Nisku Glass. On the way in hour number 2, Luke Gazdic of Sportsnet. We'll go to Coolbet, take a look at tonight's USA-Finland game. A little bit of beef as well for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. So if you got any beef, text it in right now, 780-218-9999. Or in the nasty chat, and we'll have one of the Elks more fresher faces from free agency, Gregor McKellar, join us to round out hour number 2. It is the Nielson Show here on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, edmontonsportstalk.com.
It was Mitch Marner who got the overtime winner in a 4-3 match that saw Canada beat Sweden in Game 1 of the Four Nations face-off last night. Sidney Crosby was awarded Player of the Game as he chipped in 3 apples, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows as Canadian defenseman Shay Theodore has been ruled out of the entire tournament after he sustained a wrist injury in the first period. Canada will be back in action on Saturday when they take on the Americans. Puck drop for this one goes at 6 o'clock. And only one game in the Four Nations tonight, which sees Team USA take on Finland at 6. Just 3 games last night in the WHL. The Oil Kings get the job done with a 5-2 victory over the Pats. The Tigers prevail against the Raiders. 3-1 is your score. And the Lethbridge Hurricanes rally with a 3-1 win over the Red Deer Rebels. The Oil Kings will be back in action on Friday when they take on the Red Deer Rebels. Off the ice and on the court we go. Nuggets, Jamal Murray sets a Canadian scoring record with 55 points versus the Trailblazers en route to a 132-121 victory. 14 other games in the association last night, which saw RJ Barrett led the way for the Raptors with 27 points, but it wasn't enough as the Raps fall to the East-leading Cavaliers 131-108. The Jazz defeat the Lakers 131-119, and the Mavs hold on with a 111-107 win over the Warriors. Tonight, there's just 5 games in the association. I'm YouTube Trev. You're up to date.
The Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
It's hot. It's 7:03 here. It is the Nielson Show. Sans Nielson this morning. Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev.
How is this still a thing?
Quiet you. Because the Four Nations allows it to be a thing. We have lots to get to
No, I
from
just
that.
mean Dustin being sick again.
Oh, well, actually, we can probably get to that during. I Got Beef might be a time to fire it up. He had an ear thing. He went to the doctor yesterday. An update for people who are rightfully concerned. But he went
a
to the
real doctor? Like,
No,
he
no,
feels like he'd pull a Kramer and go see a vet.
a horse doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but he had that cough that obviously hasn't gone away, and a bit of an ear thing. I should I be sharing this? I don't know.
Sure. It's personal medical details. Go
He
for
would
it.
share it too.
Yeah.
Don't make me. But he's fine. He's good. He just didn't want to. The coughing was annoying, and he didn't want to. Very responsible coworkers. You don't want to get other people,
Yeah.
coming down with the bug.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
We appreciate it.
We do. Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev. It is the Nielsen Show. Brought to you by Southford Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot today out in Fort Saskatchewan. www.southfordchev.com. As promised, more Four Nations talk. We are joined now by one of our hockey analysts, Luke Gazdic, doing a fine job with Reed and Osmac on the post game last night. He was all over puck drop at the Four Nations from Montreal, Canada, of course, with a thrilling 10-minute 3-on-3 overtime win over Sweden to kick off the tournament. Lots to get to from him, and it is brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. You can check out Pro-Am Sports if you want to get one of those swanky new Canada jerseys, of course. Always good to, after a win, you might be thinking, if you're one of those people that were concerned, I don't know what the tournament's going to be. Game one's happened now. You're feeling it. You're frothing it. Go in, see the cooks and boys at Pro-Am, and ask them, hey, EST sent us. We want one of these. We want these delicious Canadian jerseys. But Luke Gazdic, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports this morning. We welcome him in. Luke, once again, great job on the post game last night, breaking it all down. Just a general overview, I guess, and a lot of people questioning the validity of this tournament when it was announced. I think getting closer to it, and once the logos get put on the ice and it gets more real, we all start to obviously get a little more real in our fandom of it. But I asked the question this morning, like, is this, from what we saw thus far, the best of best on best in terms of, players these days are taking care of themselves better? The partying has gone to the front. It's pure skill. Just your thoughts overall last night on what was, I don't think you could kick off a tournament such as this from Canada in any better of a way.
World-class skill, world-class talent on the forefront. Going into this thing, like, I don't even think I knew what to expect. I don't think anyone really knew what to expect. Certainly would have been a little nicer to hear or leading into it that everybody was going to be involved. But I think as a hockey fan, you have to sit back and look at what you're being presented. And, a 4-team tournament with even just Canada and the US in it, like, sign me up. Like, I'm there. And then I think it finally started kicking in for me once those guys got on the ice. And you see them ripping around the red and white, and you watch the power play unit snapping it around, and everyone sounds like they're motivated and excited to be there. And even going into the game, like, I'm sitting there pregame with Kenny, and I just kind of asking, like, what do you think's going to happen here? And I really, truly thought it was going to be a slower start. I don't know why I thought that now. I thought there was going to be more mistakes early, guys kind of, going through a bit of a feeling out process, not just for the opponent, but for guys they haven't played with. But my goodness, like, they were shot out of a cannon. Like, 97 leading the way. Obviously, the early power play helped, but I thought, like, Nate was going hard early. And then it kind of just went in waves, and guys and lines started taking over. It was fun to watch. Like, that's the macro thought for me, is that was about as entertaining as it gets. Like, you are getting, you can even look on Team Canada, maybe the 3 best hockey players in the world on one roster, and getting to watch them rip up and down the ice with a 37-year-old Sidney Crosby still doing what he's doing. Like, it's a pretty good start to the tournament. I'm not going to lie.
You mentioned the start, and 97 aside, I mean, we all here in this market know the brilliance of him. It's now being seen on a on a national. But again, playing with guys like Crosby, McKinnon, I just want your thoughts too on specifically the Crosby McKinnon connection, because we were talking earlier, and I think this tournament could provide a good dress rehearsal on maybe if Sidney Crosby wants to. I mean, you've seen what he can do with McKinnon. I think we've heard what he can do when they play in the summertime or whatever on the shinny rink. But just your thoughts on that duo. And I mean, how likely do you think that we could see some of that happen maybe at or prior to the deadline? And what a dream that would just be for hockey fans to watch him play alongside McKinnon on a night-by-night basis.
I know, yin and yang, man. Two of the funnest players in the league to watch together. I think they complement each other so well. What a blessing that they've had. Not that Sid's injured, but they're taking draws on both sides. Like, they're both on their strong sides, just dominating in that aspect. And I don't know if people kind of realize how much time you spend in the summers, especially when they're long summers. If you don't make the playoffs, you have a small select group of guys that you train and skate with back home in the summer. The smaller the town you're from, the smaller that group is. I was blessed and fortunate to be here in Toronto with a big group and crop of pro hockey and NHL players. I know Edmonton has a great group over there. When you come home in the summer, you're on the ice and mixing up with these guys every day. So I can only imagine that they've done similar passes to that thousands of times on some sheet out in Nova Scotia in the middle of July. But what I didn't see too was there was a great clip that was posted of them doing that in practice, that exact power play tic-tac-toe, and just to see Crosby go no look to him and to hear the call, McDavid to Crosby to McKinnon, like I was out of my chair. It was just very cool to hear, and I could see watch those two guys all night. I really thought he was going to load it up at some point too, especially going into overtime, because I didn't love Marner's game. I thought he was good, but I really did think
take away a lot of maybe his play from last.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, Leaf Nation here is all over his game. Then obviously he does what Mitch does and comes through in the clutch. But I think he was. I thought he might lead with McDavid, McKinnon, and that was going to be some excitement or loaded up at some point. But man, those two East Coasters are fun to watch together. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, Luke, give me your hot take. Who's in goal for Canada when they take on USA?
Oh, I thought you were just going to ask me for anything across the board. I was scrambling there for a second. I'm going back to Binnington all day. Okay. Yeah, all day. I didn't like either of the first two goals. He needs both of those. Yes. I mean, even the Brodin one, especially right beside his neck on a straight shot. It's not great. Like, Kelly talked a bit about it after the game and between the second and third, like how hard that must be. Like, Sweden didn't have a shot until the 15 minutes into the first period, 5-minute mark. Like, you're just standing there trying to pass the time. But he made enough of the big saves when he had to, especially in clutch time. Like, in overtime, he made a couple game-stopping saves. And I kind of listened to what Coop said yesterday, 2 days ago, how he said, once I name my starter, like, this isn't a rotation. Like, the tournament is too short to have any sort of rotation. Like, I look at devil's advocate to that, and I'm like, yeah, it's also too short of a tournament to not be like 100% with the guy that you want to start. But I was presented a good point this morning too, in that I don't think this is like Roberto Luongo or Marty Brodeur sitting on the bench waiting in the weeds. Like, nothing against Aiden Hill, but it's kind of like, is it really that much of a better option at this point? I know Jordan, talking about guys you skate and train with in the summer, Jordan was our goalie here in Toronto for about 10 years. Absolute gamer, competitor. When it matters most, he's there, and I think he showed it in OT. I'm going back to him all day on Saturday night.
Yeah, but it did feel like we could be.
But it could have really changed,
right?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like it was 3-on-3 overtime. It went 6 minutes into overtime. Like, anything could have happened there. And I mean, the only person with a smile on his face today would have been Logan Thompson, right? Like, that's the only guy in Canada that might have had like it could have been a very different story if not for a really nice play by Mitch Marner.
100%. And you know what? I didn't have a great feeling. It was at home for them and everything, but I was kind of pacing around the studio, and yeah, man, like, Benner came up with some huge saves. Credit to I'm online a little bit. I don't interact a ton with the community online. I'm still trying to figure out how to ease myself into Twitter. But seeing a lot of like Nate taking all the shots in overtime, like I loved that personally. Like I think Cale Makar had a great quote yesterday about the power play, because someone was asking him about all the options he has, and he goes, man, like after a while, someone's got to put the puck in the net. You can't just defer to every good option you have. So I don't mind guys coming down and ripping it, looking to pick a corner. And even the play by Sid, like the 50-foot drop pass and then gets back onside, like it was pretty to watch. And Mitchie picking a corner from basically the top of the circles. What an ending, because you're right. Like I really didn't know which way it was going to go at that point. I really didn't know. And that's a whole different ball game. Like they lose that now you're behind the 8 ball, and then you got to win on Saturday. Yeah. So that's a big point for them.
Not much room in the tournament, indeed. Luke Gazdic of Sportsnet joining us this morning, brought to you again by Pro-Am Sports. Let Pro-Am help you with your team fundraiser with no-risk auction and raffle items. Visit them in-store for details, proamsports.ca. I guess the negative coming out of last night as well, the injury to one Shay Theodore, and this was a concern heading into the tournament for players in this time of the season, the timing of the tournament and such. Doesn't look good for him with that wrist injury. Your thoughts on, the magnitude of that loss for Cooper in that blue line, and where do they maybe go from here in terms of personnel and look, and maybe what you would do in mixing up the pairings, if at all? Yeah,
first of all, it didn't look like a lot. I mean, from the first couple angles we saw of it, it didn't look too bad. And so I was super surprised when Coop came out after and said that he was done. Obviously a huge loss for them, eats a ton of minutes, plays all 200 feet of the ice, can show off offensively, but shut down defensively. Sanheim's going to be asked for a lot here. And here's a guy, credit to him, man. Here's a guy who probably didn't know if he was going to get one game, and now he's going to be asked to play some pretty big, important minutes. If I was D coach for I was on there, I'd probably just slide him right into that spot with Doughty. It's a good partner to lean on, a guy that can eat a ton as well. I thought Doughty, for a guy that didn't play hockey in 4 months, I thought he looked pretty good last night. A little bit of a blip on the first goal, on the Brodin goal. He got chasing up, and then they just worked it around. Didn't look great, but I thought he had a pretty good game. I'm keeping the pairing, sliding Sanheim in there. I did get some stuff from Friedge, because I said, so if someone else gets hurt, you're telling me they're going down to 5? Like they have to have 5D. And it is like an unspoken rule that if you need to be able to dress the amount of players. So I think they, forbid they lose another one, they are able to call someone, but this is the 6 they're riding with. And you kind of saw how it played out last night. Doughty was the least. I think he played 18 or 19, and Cale went all the way up to 28, 29 minutes. So you can see the guys that he's leaning on early, but Travis Sanheim, man, next man up. You're gonna be dependent on for some good hockey here. And I don't want to say I don't know a ton about the guy, but has some good offensive touch, shut down hockey. We'll see how he does here with the likes of Austin Matthews and the rest of the crew on Saturday night.
Yeah, we know Coop, and we talked a little yesterday on how he perhaps likes to tinker a bit with the lines. It was a tight 4-3 win, and as Will pointed out, if it goes the other way, maybe we're having a little more of maybe the fangs are out a little bit more this morning. But Luke, going to Saturday against the USA, would you do anything with the forward group, and in terms of whether it's power play or anything such as that, in terms of mixing things up, a different look, a fresh look to experiment just a bit? Which again, tight tournament, a lot of time. But would you do anything, and do you see Cooper as well, maybe doing a little something and moving a few pieces around?
That's a great question. And you know what? Last night, I think I expected a little bit more tinkering in game, especially when they were loading up. You got to think the commercial breaks are 2 minutes as opposed to 30 seconds. So you have an extra 90 seconds for your top guys to get a breather in and maybe go back with them. No forward played over 20. I think Carr played 21 and a half, something like that. That's not terribly taxing for a guy like that. I look at the fourth line. I love the way they played physically. I thought Hagel, I thought Konechny finished a ton of bodies, but they were -2 in the third period, and they were on for both third period goals. A coach cannot love that. The only change you saw, which I thought was hilarious, was him putting Point, Hagel, and Sorelli together. The 3 guys on his Lightning team. He's like, give me the guys I could trust here.
Faithful.
So I am leaning that I think he puts Sam Bennett in towards the bottom of the lineup. I think that's a guy you'll come in motivated, want to go hard against that U.S. team on Saturday. I'm not sure exactly who comes out, but I do think Bennett comes in on Saturday.
Listen, I don't watch him a ton, but you're going to have a hard time like convincing me why Konechny's on this squad, and especially with a Sam Bennett not like the guy who was just on a Stanley Cup winning team not on the ice. It didn't make a lot of sense to me as far as how they put that team together.
There's two guys, and this is nothing against Travis Konechny. I think he's a heck of a player, but sure. I am with you. He was not one of the guys that I saw being there. Listen, you guys see him enough. I thought Zach Hyman earned a spot on that team. I thought he would have looked great on that first line with Rhino and Connor. But Tom Wilson, another one too. Yeah. Guy's got 24 goals and 42 points to the break. He scored 24 goals for a guy that's not really call him a goal scorer. I think he played his way onto that team, and I think he gave the whole forward core a different look with some more size. They looked small last night.
Yes.
Like Victor Hedman was towering over this forward core last night. So listen, they got the job done at the end of the day, but you're right. Out of anyone, he was the one I think maybe struggled a bit.
Well, Luke, we'll look forward to as the tournament continues tonight. USA, we get to do a little bit of a pre-scout on the Americans as they take on Finland. And of course, that leads up to the big Saturday showdown. Hope you enjoyed tonight. Again, great stuff, great analysis, and we appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Luke.
There you go, Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic, and we appreciate his time as well, staying up late, breaking it down, waking up early with us, two schmucks, pair of knuckleheads here, breaking it down with us.
Just old ham and eggs.
The old, sports yakety box here. Luke Gazdic brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Once again, they will help with your team fundraiser. No risk auction, raffle items. You can visit them in store for all the details. Located in Edmonton, corner of St. Albert Trail and 128th Ave, or online at proamsports.ca. 7:19. It is the Nielson Show. Once again, Dustin out sick, a cough, an ear thing. He was up late again on the old Twitter. So we'll hope that he comes back. He will be Boston bound next week, so he'll be doing the show live from Boston as the tournament kind of ratchets up. We get into that latter tournament play, so that'll be fun. Him and Huss in Beantown.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he won't come home sick from that. So what you're saying is clear my schedule afterwards.
You might want to.
Yeah.
I really want to watch this too.
Right, man.
GoPros on the head though. I want the full experience from the 10,000-foot view.
Yeah, I've seen Dustin rip it up in Saskatoon. I can only imagine.
He can rip it up anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best thing about him. Let's go to your Cool Bet Canada hotline of the day right now. I've got beef coming up as well just after a sports update at around 7:30. It's a local beef for me, and maybe the nasties can help this beef out as well. And Gregor McKellar, new offensive lineman for the Elks. He'll be by. Interesting fellow. So this will be a pretty fascinating discussion, I would say, at around 7:45. But once again, coolbet.com, our betting partners. Stay cool, bet responsibly at CoolBet. You can get up there for Finland USA tonight. I did, Trev, also mention Mitchie Marner yesterday. I don't know if you knew when we were putting together the parlay prop for last night in terms of points or goals. And sure enough,
there he was.
Brodeen and Marner. Blind squirrel, two nuts.
You need to start betting.
That's
pretty good.
Once I put a buck down.
Yeah, that's how it happens. That's always
Mitch Marner is today's hero.
Annoying.
And I don't want
future Oiler.
And I don't want to take anything away from him, but he made me sad last night after the game.
The post-game interview?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me feel bad for Mitch Marner, who he's 27. He has been to the playoffs a ton.
Mm-hmm.
He has done a lot of big things in this game. And they asked him if that was the biggest goal he's ever scored. And he said yes. And when they asked him what he thought his second biggest one, he couldn't come up with an answer.
He said his first or whatever, right? First NHL goal or something like that. And I was
just like I love you, Mitch. And I love that you're involved.
Mitch.
But dude, if that's the biggest goal you've ever scored, you haven't scored a lot. Like, it just, if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, that's all you need to know about the last decade in Toronto.
Yeah, you said it.
Right? Like Connor McDavid would not give that answer. If Connor McDavid had scored that goal and they went, "Is that the biggest goal you've ever scored?" He'd look at you like you had two heads. Right?
Well, yeah.
He'd be like, "No, I think
different arc that the two of them have been
I think
on,
I've scored a few bigger ones."
Sure. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Neil Yakupov scored a bigger one. Right. Like,
right. Yeah.
And that's
Like,
keep kind of going
That
down
was the only bummer from the evening was him being like, "That's the biggest goal I've
and
ever
he was
scored."
at a loss for words.
And I was
he
just like, "Oh,
scrambling there.
dude,
Yeah.
I'm so happy you have that. Then, if that's the case, I'm so happy you have that." But that just speaks to the disappointment that you've been experiencing in Toronto for a decade.
USA tonight -1.5. You can get Finland for +270 on the money line. Just your general thoughts tonight in terms of players popping off. This is, again, first game for these two nations, a feeling out process as well, or fireworks from the States. I know Finland, we've talked about, injuries a bit.
I wonder if this is going to be the Quinn Hughes show. That's what I'm
Okay.
going to be interested in watching. The season that he is having in Vancouver right now has been overshadowed by the drama that has been happening. Like while everything has been falling apart, he has been putting together one of the best seasons by a defenseman in a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I do wonder, especially now that he's not burdened by the drama of the Vancouver Canucks, that he's playing for Team USA.
Worked for Pedersen last night. Different story. I get
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Continue on.
What
I didn't
happened
mean
to that guy?
yeah.
But anyways, that's the one player that I'm going to be looking at on Team USA. Does he step out there and kind of say, "This is my squad. This is my team. I'm going to be the sort of the flag bearer for USA hockey going forward."
And that was Quinn?
Quinn Hughes. Yeah.
Quinn not playing. Jack Hughes, +190. Go with Jack.
Okay.
So.
Oh, is Quinn still injured?
Yeah.
Oh man, bad take. Sorry about that.
Listen, you do this every single day. You should be up to date on that.
I thought because we
The
saw
American
Sidney
lineup.
Crosby out there that we like all the guys that had kind of been milking it heading in were going to be ready to go, but obviously not.
This is a situation where you can pivot off one Hughes and go to another if you like.
There's so many Hughes to pick from.
That's just it. But Quinn Hughes, unfortunately, that injury. Werenski, McAvoy, Slavin, Fox, Hanifin, Faber are your defensive pairings. Look, you pivot. If not him, then whom?
Well, then it's Connor Hellebuyck. Like, speaking of a guy who has a lot to prove in big game situations, it's Connor Hellebuyck.
Over under 5.5 tonight. And that's total goals.
Total goals? Yeah. I think I'd take the under. Is it not Saros in between the pipes for Team Finland?
Yes, it should be.
That's a pretty good goaltender matchup.
Well, look, Dusty's been doing this thing with Coolbet called Dusty's Undies,
Okay.
where he takes unders every night, like 4 or 5 unders.
Yeah.
So we can call this like Will's Undies.
Will's sniffing Dusty's undies.
There you have it. Take the under tonight. Hellebuyck v. Saros, Finland and the USA. That is your Coolbet Canada hotline of the day. 7:25, as mentioned, I Got Beef coming up just after a sports update for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. Hey, if you're looking for some game day grub you want to entertain, swing by Acme Meats and pick up some stuff from Corey. Tell him EST sent you. He'll hook you up big time, and you can kind of entertain for that Saturday night game, Canada and the USA. We got Gregor McKellar coming up as well, new offensive lineman for the Elks. Hour 3, trivia, 3 questions fired up. Dave Naylor will be by as well. We'll quickly touch on a little CFL free agency, the Marmot Snow Report, and the wrap for William Huff, all to come on the show today. But great response to the tournament this morning from all of you listening, watching, YouTube, iHeart, TuneIn radio apps as well. RCN doing a victory lap this morning. He knew that the game would be exciting last night, and you nailed it. You nailed it.
That was a hot take.
He says Scheifele over Konechny. That's the change needed. Also, he says Uyghur should have been there. Righty who can easily play the left side. I think a lot of us were screaming out for a Uyghur type. Scheifele would be a name that just below the cut line.
I think you could probably go 6 deep of the players that should be on this team that aren't. And yeah, Mark Scheifele would be at the top of my list. Absolutely. And to think that he's not even a healthy scratch. He wasn't named to this squad. But you look at the top of the NHL regular season right now standings, and it's Winnipeg and Washington, and both those squads have some pretty big names that are not on this team that should be. Starting in between the pipes for Team Canada.
You agree with those takes as well, Trev? Scheifele, Uyghur?
Scheifele should have been a lock. Like, he's the person I'm most upset that he's not on this team.
Yeah.
Like, he can do it all. He's so complete.
Imagine you had a fourth line of Scheifele, Zach Hyman, and I'll throw Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in there.
Yeah.
You tell me that can't be an effective fourth line?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
It's crazy to me the way that Hockey Canada thinks, where they go, well, they're not a fourth liner. They can't play fourth line. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, they're excellent hockey players that play 200 feet.
They can do whatever
They can do whatever you ask them to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And he's top 10 in goals right now. Like, there's not much this player, Scheifele, can't do.
Yeah.
He is so good. So that's one player. I know he started strong this season. He got stripped of the C. He's wearing the A now, but JT, John Tavares as well. Like, that's
slow
one
boots,
player.
I'm not a big fan of slow boots.
Of JT. Yeah, that's fair. I think
with the best on best. The speed and the skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not even that.
He's a pro's pro.
He's a pro's pro.
Absolutely.
But the pedigree may be falling just a bit short for you on that term. That pro's pro pedigree needs to be above and to trump all the...
He's lost half a step and he didn't have half a step to lose. So, like, he's putting up a good season in Toronto. But, there's a lot of guys. Like, we keep going back to it. But, yeah, Logan Thompson in between the pipes would look so good right now for Team Canada.
780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox once again. Come hard after that A&W text of the day. $20 to A&W right now up for grabs. Let's hit a sports update here for Park Mazda. On the way, once again, I Got Beef and Gregor McKellar, one of the many newest member of the Elks during free agency tampering window here. He'll be joining us to round out hour number 2 on the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser, YouTube, Trev, here on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
It was Mitch Marner who got the overtime winner in a 4-3 match that saw Canada beat Sweden. Game 1 of Four Nations face-off. Sidney Crosby was awarded the player of the game as he chipped in 3 apples, but it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows as Canadian defenseman Shay Theodore has been ruled out of the entire tournament after he sustained a wrist injury in the first period. Canada will be back in action on Saturday when they take on the Americans. Puck drop for this one goes at 6 o'clock. And only one game in the Four Nations tonight, which sees Team USA take on Team Finland at 6 o'clock. Just 3 games in the WHL last night. The Oil Kings get the job done with a 5-2 victory over the Pats. The Tigers prevail against the Raiders. 3-1 is your score. And the Lethbridge Hurricanes rally with a 3-1 win over the Red Deer Rebels. The Oil Kings will be back in action on Friday, where they will take on the Red Deer Rebels. Off the ice and on the court we go. Denver Nuggets' Jamal Murray sets a Canadian scoring record with 55 points versus the Trailblazers en route to a 132-121 victory. 14 other games in the association last night, which saw RJ Barrett lead the way for the Raptors with 27 points, but it wasn't enough as the Raps fall to the East-leading Cavaliers 131-108. The Jazz defeat the Lakers 131-119. The Mavs hold on with a 111-107 win over the Warriors, and the league-leading Thunder stay red hot with the win over the Heat. 115-101 is the score in that one, and tonight just 5 games in the association. The sports update is brought to you by the fine folks at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki. Your dealer for life.
shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysidle setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. As sure as new G is slick and Kane is tough. We're going all the way this year, enough is enough. And we can play 'em straight or we can play 'em rough. I'm feeling fine when I walk the line. 'You know I shoot that puck so very, very hard. The name on the back of my jersey says Bouchard. And we're gunning for first place, not a wild card. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. Well, we're counting on our skill and not on luck. And it's gonna get real when they drop that puck. And we won't be done until we hoist the cup. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line.
7:34. It is the Nielson Show. No Dustin Nielson today. He is out ill. Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser. Will, don't tell me Quinn Hughes isn't in this tournament, Fraser. Hey, man, you were getting spit roasted on the. Ooh, who's this guy think he is? Your Crosby for Matthews trade too really pissed somebody off.
Well, I knew it was
yeah,
going
while
to.
you're at it, trade Matthews.
Yeah, I would. If I was the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would have traded him last year. The guy's a loser.
YouTube Trev as well. You hear him on the sports updates. We did have a sports update for Park Mazda though, and what I'd like to get to right now is a message from Mitch and Park Mazda. If we could, YouTube Trev, let's get this going here.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as newborn 8-pound, 6-ounce Mitch Lewicki. You can picture grown-up Mitch, or teenage Mitch, or bearded Mitch, or whoever you want.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
It's a great ad. It's a great jingle. We don't have a lot of them here on the station. It's one of the fruits of Edmonton sports talk here is not a lot of that wasting of the time with the ads and everything, but Park Mazda will never waste your time. Check them out today, parkmazda.ca or in Sherwood Park. Go down and tell Mitch you say, it's EST. We're coming to say hi. Brother and sister-in-law got a new vehicle off him the other day.
Oh, nice.
Very nice whip. Working well for them. So Park Mazda, Mitch in the Park. Check them out today. I got beef right now for Acme Meats.
A minivan? Is that what they're driving these days?
SUV. One of those. Everybody's driving SUVs.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
everyone's
right?
got
an
it.
SUV.
Yeah.
I got beef. It's for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. Once again, go see Corey in the Ritchie block. Great guy, local butcher, been doing it for a long, long time. 100 years serving Edmonton and area.
He's
95,
been a butcher
70.
for 100 years?
He has, and
Wow.
he's still fit.
Wow. John Cooper should see him about some longevity.
Eat fresh, eat local, eat Acme, 9570 76th Ave. I wanted to get to the story, and we'll be back with Four Nations face-off here in a bit. But a local soccer team here in the city, did you hear about this one? They found out they won't be attending an upcoming tournament despite fundraising for more than 2 years. You heard about this one, YouTube, Trev?
Yes, I did. And they had a father, Reed Wilkin and Jay had a father
yesterday on the program
on the show to talk about it, and pretty sad. Yeah, pretty sad. That hurts.
A U11 team here, Selects Football Club, was supposed to leave for a tournament in Vegas early tomorrow. This Monday, they found out the team wasn't registered for the tournament. The flights or hotel rooms were not booked. The money the team was raised to pay for registration, flights, accommodation, approximately $40,000. That's $40,000.
Okay.
Was missing. The team's coach also missing. So a bit of a, monorail guy gets the money, gets out of town. The U11 team is left.
There was still a monorail, though.
Yes, but you know what I'm saying here.
Yeah. No,
the guy bolts town with the money. So once again, I just wanted to give them some love and kudos on Reed and Jay, the Reed Wilkins Show 3 to 6 here Monday to Friday on Edmonton Sports Talk. But they do have a GoFundMe going. Currently, I think yesterday, 11,000 as of 4 o'clock yesterday evening. So you can go to the GoFundMe here once again. Stolen funds, stolen dreams, help our team rebuild. It is the people have responded in a great way. But Edmonton youth soccer team devastated here. Yeah, the GoFundMe U11 soccer. That's where it's at. You can just search it on the GoFundMe there. But yeah, I just thought that got beef with that. Whoever the I guess we don't need to. I don't know the name of the individual. We don't need to be doing that vigilante. But hopefully he's because that's just stealing money is stealing money. Stealing from people is theft sucks. If you've been a victim of theft. But to a U11 soccer team, for crying out loud, after you've sold them on the dream of a tournament to Vegas of all places, it hurts, but I got beef with it as well for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. So that's where I'm going with my I got beef. Just wanted to give them a little bit of love. Kudos again to Reed and Jay for doing that as well. It looks like they're well on their way to reaching or surpassing their goal. So you can check that out. It's a GoFundMe. A quick Google search, you'll find the story. You'll find the GoFundMe, and you can do what you want there. But to get out of that here too, if you guys have any other beefs, I know I said you usually write in editorials to the local, you are the local scribe of your paper. Anything pissing you off in the
I can't write
in the world,
you know that.
Well, it's the text to you dictate, and then the machine spits it
into
out
the
of the
phone.
paper. Yeah.
Hello, coffee.
Yeah,
I got a story for you.
Record now. But beefs, you said you had one YouTube. Trev, did you? You always have an interesting tale.
Yeah, I got beef. I'll keep it short here.
Oh,
but yeah, well, I'm very passionate about this tournament. I've made a few videos on it now. I've got a lot of heat in the comment section in my channel. People just saying this is dumb, this is stupid. You should not cheer for this. It's like what a joke. People just like, I don't know. Just I'm okay with people if they don't, they're not getting excited towards it or whatever, but like, you don't have to be a brat or, another word. And I don't know. It just, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. It ticks me off. Like, I don't know. That's my beef. Just going to keep it short and simple.
I like it.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't like it, but you don't got to be a meh,
I'm always completely amused by intersquabbling amongst sports fans,
especially online,
right? Like it's kind of like when Star Wars fans argue with Star Trek fans about who's the bigger nerd. Like,
yes,
like hot tip, you're all nerds, right? And like when people start to look at sports and go, that's not serious, but this sport is. No sport is serious. Like the job of sport is to just entertain. Right? It doesn't
to keep you away from other matters that humanity is.
It doesn't cure disease. It doesn't make you smarter. Like you're not going to grow 2 inches if you watch it. Like there is nothing more that it does than entertain you. And so to have the hot take of this is stupid and this isn't when you're talking about sports, it really does feel like a waste of your time. Not just the time of the person that you're shouting at, but your own personal time. Like just don't watch then.
Don't let the bastards get you down though.
It blows my mind. Like those people, they take time out of their day. Like, okay,
well, this
like
is
that's
stupid.
Fine.
Oh, it's all stupid, man.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like who cares?
It's just whether or not you're going to be entertained by it. And I mean, you watched last night. It was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
It was.
If you don't think so, you're a liar.
It was worth tuning in for. Now, I hope no one is going into debt because no one should be like, you know what, it's going to take me 5 years to pay off this credit card debt, but I'm going to be there. Maybe not a great choice, but yeah, tune in, man. Get together with the friends. Go to a bar. Enjoy yourself. It's minus a million outside. Find a reason.
What if I want to stay home?
Well, there you go.
Do I not match your level of fandom, Will?
Only if you spend the entire time online while watching.
Yeah. Complaining.
Yeah.
We will move on. Once again, that was I Got Beef for Corey the Butcher. I mean, thank you, boys, for sharing your beefs today. It was very enlightening. Again, help that soccer team out, as Rob from the Grove said. $45,290. Their GoFundMe is at right now. Let's get them 2 trips to Vegas. I don't know. I mean, this kind of shattered their week, so it's good to see the outreach from the community there. And go on YouTube Trev's channel and leave a positive comment. Right? Yes.
Yes, please. It's riddled with negativity.
Yes. What's not negative was the Elks free agency window. Both the tampering and the official one when it cracked
They were
open
effective.
They needed to move. We've been talking about this franchise for long. You were in during the fall months here where a lot of appointments were made in terms of the hierarchy.
Yeah. They picked a direction and they are going into it.
Yes, and I think one that tickled the fans, green and gold, shall we say. Chris Morris, the Prez, Ed Hervey, of course, coming in to GM. Mark Killam, which maybe not a lot of people saw coming, but I know players from around the league gave that a ringing endorsement. And we will have one of the many newest members of the Edmonton Elks joining us right now, and that is Gregor McKellar. Gregor, welcome to the show, man. It's Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser here with you on the Dustin Nielson Show. Just, I guess, to tee things up on the topic of the day, you're a maritime guy. How cool was it to see Crosby and McKinnon linking up last night at the Four Nations?
Oh, it's pretty cool for sure, seeing those same guys on the same team. So it's nice to see the East Coast representing.
For sure. You're a St. Francis Xavier X-Men. Not a long time in the CFL. Of course, your career kind of just getting underway, but I wanted to know, you've spent some time in Toronto with the Argonauts, the Boatmen, 18 games played in 23. Of course, just half of that last year due to some unfortunate things for yourself there. But what kind of was the bat signal that brought you to Edmonton in terms of, we just went over, I mean, this has been a team that hasn't been on the right side of the ledger record-wise for years. It's been a total cleaning house from the top to the bottom. So what kind of got you excited most about joining this franchise in terms of coaching, personnel, some other players from the Argonauts coming over, but what kind of galvanized you to come out here with the green and gold?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a couple things. Obviously, as soon as the free agency window opened, I received, a call from just about everybody in the organization. So that was obviously really nice to, have a little conversation or a little chat with, coaches, management, all that kind of stuff. And they obviously, kind of shared their plan and their excitement moving forward with the Elks organization. So, after that, I was just, I'm grateful for this opportunity to, come in and compete out in Edmonton, and really just hoping to see things, kind of turn around, and everything seems to be trending in the right direction. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mentioned you do have a young career, 3 years in Toronto, 22 starts at guard, and part of 2 Grey Cups. Where do you kind of see yourself? I know it's early days, but where do you personally see yourself fitting in with this team in terms of position, depth, and all those sorts of things?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think every situation in, professional sports is going to be competitive. So obviously I want to come in and do my absolute best to, compete and earn a starting role on that offensive line. I'm just looking forward to making the most of the next couple months of training, and obviously rolling into training camp and stuff like that. And I'm just ready to compete and, contribute to what's already a great group of offensive linemen.
One of the newest members of the Edmonton Elks, offensive lineman Gregor McKellar, joining us this morning on the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser, and a successful time in Toronto, albeit a brief one. What did you learn during that time that you hadn't known from your football career? Obviously, I mean, it's the pro game. It's not, St. FX, and no offense to that program, but again, on a university scale, what did you pull away from football during that time in Toronto that you may have not already learned about, the sport or yourself as a player?
Yeah, I think definitely one of like the biggest adjustments would obviously be kind of like the preparation put in, like all the time put in, everything that you do outside of the building. Obviously you report to work for, say 8 until 3 o'clock, but it's everything you do in between leading up to the next day and all that kind of stuff. So that was a big adjustment from university, but definitely a lot of opportunities to learn in Toronto. And that's something that I, kind of carry forward with me moving into this new opportunity out in Edmonton.
Now we've done the football stuff. I kind of want to get to know the guy here. And are you like a family guy? Do you got a wife, kids, just flying solo? Who are you all bringing out here in that type of scenario, situation with the life that you got right now?
Yeah. So I have a girlfriend. She is actually back in Nova Scotia right now since we came back from Toronto. She was actually in Toronto with me, and she worked for the Blue Jays, like their Jays Care Foundation. So that was a pretty cool experience for her. This time around, I think she'll be staying in Nova Scotia and just working in Nova Scotia. I'll come up for the season and everything. And yeah, other than that, definitely like a family guy, a little bit of a homebody, pretty close group of friends like around here in Nova Scotia that I, have always kind of hung out with. So it's nice to be home for a little bit and see some of my buddies and stuff like that. And yeah.
Because you do have some interesting talents that I wanted to dive into here as well. World Pipe Band Championship. As a bagpiper, we have a few pipists ourselves that listen in on the show and actually play us in sometimes at station events. Walk us through this championship. A championship on the gridiron, multiple ones, but also a championship in the World Pipe Band Championships. Walk us through that. The 5 Ws. Where was this? When was this? Who was it? What were you a part of? A team or just on your own?
So for this, I was actually kind of like a part of a team, and that would have been, it's the 78th Highlanders Halifax Citadel. And I think I only would have been like 14 or 15 when I went to, Glasgow, Scotland for the World Pipe Band Championships. So that was a pretty cool experience at, like a younger age. And yeah, I've been bagpiping since I was 6 years old. Obviously nowadays I'm a little occupied with football and all that. So it's something that I still, I can do, but, I've kind of been out of that scene for the last few years, but, that was a huge part of my life growing up.
So no plans to do the tattoo at the Edinburgh Castle?
No, not in like the next few years, at least. I'm hoping to keep going with football for as long as I can.
Are you a rugby fan as well by chance, or?
No, not too much of a rugby fan. My girlfriend played university rugby at St. FX, so I guess I was a fan of her and that team, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in town, though.
Good save.
Yeah.
Good save.
No, yeah. We got a rugby club out here with a few guys that like to play the pipes, so maybe we'll have to bring you out and introduce you. I wanted to get to as well, and of course from Nova Scotia, lobster fisherman, commercial rec. Again, we're prairie guys out here.
How many pots
so,
you got?
Yeah, what's going on with that as well?
Yeah, it's also been a little while since I've gone lobster fishing because that's like a spring season or a winter season. Done both. But yeah, pretty much going lobster fishing at I guess 2 or 3 a.m. every morning and going out fishing until sometime in the afternoon. And that was actually what I did while I was at St. FX. I'd stay there in the summer and train, and I'd go lobster fishing for 2 months in May and June. And that was, yeah, next to football, that was probably my favorite job I've ever worked. So,
is that your favorite seafood? I love seafood. Our regular host here just can't stand any food from the sea at all. Is that like lobster? A good lobster? You got some butter on there as well, or where else are you going on the menu?
Honestly, yeah, like just good old classic lobster with butter, or give me like a nice lobster roll or something like that. Scallops, anything. I'm a big fan.
Love it. Love it. Gregor McKellar, we appreciate your time this morning, man. Welcome to the Elks. Welcome to Edmonton. Look forward to see you suiting up on the line come training camp and beyond, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's great to talk to you guys, and I'm definitely looking forward to being out in Edmonton and being a part of this Elks organization.
Awesome. Thanks for having you and the time today. That's once again, Gregor McKellar, Grey Cup champion already, young career for the offensive lineman, but he finds himself, as well as a handful of other players here in Edmonton, via the free agency tampering window, and obviously free agency opening up right now. Lobster fisherman, World Pipe Band Championship bagpiper. It's nice to see some of the stories from guys playing CFL ball, especially Canadians, with a little more. And I don't get to look. I've never been out to that end of the world or the country, so to me it's all foreign. And I find it a real gas to be able to talk to some of these people sometimes, because I don't know what the
completely different lived experience.
I eat lobster off a plate.
Yeah.
And it's like whatever, but he's going out there. I never knew the time in the season and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But
Cold mornings.
Yeah, we'll have to get him in on the hangout. He seems like a hangout guy. 9 to 11 with Matt Iwanek and Tom Gazzola. Fergie is quite the dazzler. Big Uke says, "Yeah, Fergie can." You've met Ian Fergie's prostate there. He can play a pipe. Have you ever played the bagpipes? You have a clan tartan, don't you?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, my father has a set. I've tried to inflate it.
It's not for the weak of chest.
Maybe I have the lungs now, but when I was young, I didn't have the lungs to be able to keep it going.
2 packs a day,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. 3 sometimes.
3,
Depends on what was going on in the personal life. Sometimes a little stressful. You just chain smoke for an entire day.
780-218-9999. Your thoughts. Once again, we'll get back into the Four Nations face-off as well, coming up on hour number 3. We'll dive into a little more CFL, albeit on a broader scale, with Dave Naylor of TSN. We'll go over the winners, the losers, the quality, the quantity, and that sort of thing from free agency thus far. Northside Sandwich, I see your text. I don't need to read it, and you'll know why. MacKellor, what a beauty. That comes in from Burglar. He does define a bit of a beauty, right? Like a soft-spoken guy, probably carries a big stick,
he's
polite.
A CFL offensive lineman.
Yes, exactly. A Canadian CFL
right.
offensive
Yeah, like
lineman.
it's the most likable position in all of professional sport.
Yeah. Bone says, sports are stupid. Mao Tse Wil. I think he's some sort of
Sports are stupid.
Yeah, but he calls you Mao Tse Wil.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I get it. Like as a Mao Zedong sort of. I get it. Okay. All right.
None of this is.
Yeah. I don't think I've killed 20 million of my own citizens, but we're probably closer than I want to admit.
JKB says, I don't know, sometimes watching McDavid makes me grow 2 inches in terms of the sports. Yeah, it is real in that. Yeah. So, once again, 780-218-9999. Come hard after that.
That's called a sexual fetish, though. If that's what's happening to you, that is called a sexual fetish.
$20 to A&W on the line today.
And God bless it. You know what? You do you.
No, you're not keeping track.
Right.
Sink your teeth into savings with A&W's new $6 Buddy Bundle. For a limited time, you can get your choice of a Buddy Burger with cheese made with juicy grass-fed beef and sautéed onions, or a hot and crispy chicken Buddy Burger, plus a small fries and small drink, all for just $6. Burger, crispy fries, cold drink, $6. Who says you can't have it all, Will? Come on down to A&W. Grab a Buddy Bundle today, available in restaurants and on the mobile app for a limited time. And also get your questions in for 3 questions too many. That's coming up just after the top of the hour. I know, Rob from the Grove, you had an interesting one for Will. I mean, we like when the guest is in, we like to kind of pick his brain on things. But if you have any questions for us, YouTube Trev as well, or, mainly Will, that he's here today, feel free to get them in, 780-218-9999. Sarah Cole says, my ears just perked up. Was that the bagpiping or the lobster or other? Please let us know. Rip City Step says he's EST's answer to the Rizzler. I think he was meaning MacKellor. Hey, did he give off Rizzler vibes? Did he touch his chin? Or his jawbone? Isn't that what the Rizzler does?
He didn't touch his jawbone.
No.
But I think he's way cooler than the Rizzler.
I would say so, yeah. And older.
Yeah.
That kid's like 5.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing, really.
But he's getting it all. Hey, living the life. Fergie might dazzle him with stories of Europe. Norman a Combine says, yeah, no, I'd love to see Fergie and MacKellor.
The duo.
I'd love to see them on a... Yeah, well, right. I want MacKellor hangout. He's got to come in here at the hangout, bust down the doors, pipe his way into the hangout.
They need to have a bagpipe off. Is that a thing? Let's make it
is now.
Sure.
Yeah. Bagpipe company.
Like a dueling bagpipe.
We'll have our own Highland games here in the parking lot. Yeah.
Bergie would take it personal.
Victor from the spa can join in.
Yep.
It'll be international.
He'll judge.
Sure. Yeah.
What's a bagpipe?
We'll have the Kyber toss.
Caber.
Yeah. Fifed him. Stampeder's got a question for you, Will, too. Well, that's good. We'll save them for 3 questions too many that's coming up. Let's break a little early, I guess. We'll get to a sports update from YouTube. Trev, give us some time for our number 3. Once again, questions, 780-218-9999. He's got trivia as well, and we'll make the call for that right now. If you want to play trivia, all questions, again, provided by Mao Tse Will this morning, and you're playing for Mr. Mike's gift card. So text in, say, Trev, I want to play. He'll pick one of you, and you'll be the next contestant on Kind of Easy Trivia coming up. Fired up for Gemco Fireplaces as well on the way. That's ahead of Dave Naylor, the Marmot Basin Snow Report, and the wrap for William Huff, and of course, your talk. Trev's pounding the chest. He's got Canada. We're all Canadian. Canada hockey, 2010, golden goal, Sid the Kid, Connor McDavid, maple syrup, Montreal. Sports update.
It was Mitch Marner who got the overtime winner in a 4-3 match that saw Canada beat Sweden in Game 1 of the Four Nations face-off. Sidney Crosby was awarded the player of the game as he chipped in with 3 assists, but it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows as Canadian defenseman Shay Theodore has been ruled out for the entire tournament after he sustained a wrist injury in the first period. Canada will be back in action on Saturday when they take on the Americans. Puck drop for this one goes at 6 o'clock. And only one game in the Four Nations tonight, which sees Team USA take on Finland at 6 o'clock. Just 3 games last night in the WHL. The Oil Kings get the job done with a 5-2 victory over the Pats. The Tigers prevail against the Raiders. 3-1 is your score. And the Lethbridge Hurricanes rally with a 3-1 win over the Red Deer Rebels. The Oil Kings will be back in action on Friday, where they will take on the Red Deer Rebels. Off the ice and on the court we go. Denver Nuggets Jamal Murray sets a Canadian scoring record with 55 points versus the Trailblazers en route to a 132-121 victory. 14 other games in the association last night, which saw R.J. Barrett lead the way for the Raptors with 27 points, but it wasn't enough as the Raps fall to the East-leading Cavaliers 131-108. The Jazz defeat the Lakers 131-119. The Mavs hold on with a 111-107 win over the Warriors. And the league-leading Thunder stay red hot with a win over the Heat. 115-101 is the score in that one. Tonight in the association, just 5 games. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since 1993. Doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, plywood. Go see knowledgeable staff at Windsor Plywood Leduc today.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in on TuneIn, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting in the nasty chat, what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. No more interference from corporate interest. Just Tuffy and Eric and all of the bad cats like Brzezinski and Noodles. Gazdic and Gage, maybe slip up at a cool bed to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday mandate. Shaggy's always on time, Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number 1 in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some Huntix and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I wanna kiss away? Beat us to tie a fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about the Canes? Macramella, Rapaport, Gregor Engineer. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. Button and my cousin in the tales of the North. All about him game in person, Dusty go forth. What say you? AM Nasty Crew. We got the Nielson Show flu. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
8:03 on the day after puck drop at the Four Nations face-off where Canada stormed out of the gates to a 4-3 overtime win over Sweden. We'll have more on that as the show. Nay, we will have more on that today on Edmonton Sports Talk. You got the Hangout coming up 9 to 11 with Maddie and Tommy. You got the Lock Shop as well with the boy. I don't know if Dusty will dial in for that as well. I'm not too sure, but Huss and Jake Boland-Moss, I'm sure they'll be wall-to-wall, floor-to-floor with that. You got EST Afternoons. Hernan and Gager will be by as well. And then the Reed Wilkins Show, 3 to 6. Of course, if you haven't heard, tell your friends. Should be a great day, a banner day of celebration here on EST. And of course, kicking you off here, the Nielson Show, Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev. Presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot. Visit the great staff, Daniel and Claire and the team out in Fort Saskatchewan or online, southfortchev.com. We'll be connecting with somebody here to play Kinda Easy Trivia in a moment. Will has provided the questions.
Can't get any easier than this trivia.
You start off like Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, it's an easy start.
Yeah.
Near the end, though, it gets a little more. It gets that last question.
Yeah, that last question.
Just saying, you don't want to leave it till the end.
Yeah.
Today. You want to make hay while the sun is up on Kinda Easy Trivia. And as mentioned too, if you have three questions too many for Will or Trev or either of them too, you can get them in as well. 780-218-9999. And again, this contestant will be playing for a $25 GC to Mr. Mike's. And who was it here? Red? Yeah, Red was in yesterday collecting his Mike's gift card. Nice meeting you guys yesterday. Cool seeing the studio you guys built. Thanks for Red. You are he is a big man, large man.
Big tall glass of water.
Big Red. Yeah. He was just a mountain of a man. But
like to climb that tree.
Yeah. Not only do you win the Mr. Mike's gift card, you can come in and collect it, and we'll give you a short tour of the studio. You can see Iwanix's office where the madness happens, and maybe play a game of Tecmo. Have you seen that thing?
Where the madness
you can't
happens.
even walk in.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen Hoarders and all that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
like
it's a sign of his mental illness.
It's Charlie on Always Sunny with the push pins and
exactly.
Things he's writing things on the roof, the ceiling. It's a scene, man.
Yeah.
Who do we got, Trev, today playing?
This is Papa Bear.
Papa Bear. Hello. Papa Bear, how you doing?
Hey, guys.
Hey. Hey, what kind of bear?
Yeah.
Oh, an old grizzled veteran.
I love it. An old bull. Papa Bear, have you played before?
I have.
What's your record? Are you batting 100 or what?
I'm 1-0.
Love it. Well, let's get you to 2-0 this morning, man. You know the deal. The ticker will start after I read the first question. Questions, again, provided by Wil Fraser. You need 3 out of 5 to get to Mr. Mike's. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Name a goal scorer for Canada last night.
Mitch Marner.
Name a goal scorer for Sweden.
Brodin.
Team USA takes on what nation later this evening?
Finland.
Who does Canada play next?
The United States.
Which league kicked off their training competitions with our training camps, pitchers and catchers reporting earlier this week?
Max Scherzer.
5 out of 5. Yes.
See what he did.
Yeah. Well, but he's going to Mr. Mike's. So I get it.
We all get it.
No.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
That's right. Who do you think you are? I am. Get it right. You can't have a newcomer come in
and steal the show.
That's happening.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Ooh, you better believe that's happening.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's happening.
The first year we took it to the limit. Take it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Papa Bear.
Yeah, when he said he was a Papa Bear, I was trying to think, do I know him? Have I seen him at the club?
Don't start.
Have I brushed up against this Papa Bear? But it didn't sound familiar.
If you saw him in the leather cap,
yeah,
you'd
exactly.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, Papa Bear.
He's off to Mr. Mike's, baby. Once again, right now, and I am not Dustin Nielson, nor will I try to be him. But are you ready to stake your claim? Head to Mr. Mike's for a 2-course steak dinner for just $39.99. Start with the Emperor's Caesar salad, or the Dusty impersonates all these in different variations of like a British accent. Okay. So you stake your claim at Mr. Mike's 2-course steak dinner, $39.99. So he goes, start with an Emperor's Caesar salad.
Okay.
Or a rustic onion soup. And he parses his mouth in different ways. And then enjoy our tender 7-ounce sirloin steak with Bernaise butter.
Yeah, no, this all tracks. This is the man I know.
Trev is not laughing at
he's
all.
He's my Papa Bear.
No, I was
you know these daily
Sorry,
impressions.
I zoned out, but yes, that was good. That was accurate.
Zoned out.
No, he's...
I was like looking right in the monitor there. That was weird. No, but that was good.
Thank you. Garlic mashed potatoes loaded with savory toppings. Mr. Mike's, eat locally, enjoy casually. So Papa Bear, he will be coming in to collect this. Maybe you'll get to see him.
Finally.
Rekindle an old...
I do know you. Yeah.
Wait, turn around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You're getting it. Yeah, so Mr. Mike's, that was kind of easy trivia, we think.
Someone throw on It's Raining Men. I want to see him dance.
Yeah, it's all coming back to me. Let's get into 3 questions right now as well, brought to you by the great staff once again at Park Mazda. Mitch Lewicki and the team out in Sherwood Park. Check them out today online, parkmazda.ca, or go see them in the dealership. Tell them EST sent you. Once again, if you have any questions, send them in. We got a couple trickling in here. We can cobble something together. But social media accounts, boys. Where can people follow you online? We'll get to you, Will, here in a second. But YouTube, Trev, where can people follow you on social media?
You can follow me at YouTube_Trev on Twitter and Instagram. Give it a follow for all the latest. Everything I'm up to. From cooking to cleaning to bathing. You'll get your YouTube Trev mix in.
Okay. Nice. I go old school, so you can follow my thoughts and clues in the New York Times crossword puzzle.
Ooh. I thought you'd go more for a blog.
I like that.
Yeah. No. Like, listen.
Do you blog still?
No, you follow like every third word and 5th clue from the New York Times crossword puzzle. You'll get my hottest of takes.
But no other platforms as well, right? You can Wil Fraser for hire, Twitter.
I'd rather you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Question number 1, and as I said, it's nice to direct some questions to the guests or Trev as well. Specifically this morning, Eric and Will. I need some free advice from Will. Ooh. My wife and I have reservations at Barbacoa tonight.
Nice.
What do you recommend off the menu? Of course, if you missed it, Will and his lovely wife took myself and my lovely wife out for supper a few weeks back. I never knew that there was a south side to Spruce Grove. Took us.
Neither does Spruce Grove.
Well, apparently, but we went all over the town.
Yeah.
It was a great evening, and I thank you for that. And so does my wife.
Lovely company, and your wife especially. She is so much better than you. Much like my wife is better than me.
I can't sing that tune enough.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
We were in the presence of angels that night.
Yeah.
Sniffing our port flights.
That was really delicious.
I never
my
knew
wife
that
ordered that for me. Right.
Point proven.
Yeah.
But again, Barbacoa. So what are you getting down there?
It really depends on what you're looking for. Everyone gets the eggs and bacon appetizer. But honestly, the cucumber salad is like it'll blow you away, the cucumber salad. So if you're going to start off with anything, go for that. And then they do market prices. So it really depends on what cuts they have available. But if they've got if you're willing to spend the money and they've got a tomahawk there, you and your date to split the tomahawk, do it table style.
Yeah.
And then just get whatever you want to sort of round it out. But no one does a steak better.
That was the second place we went to, correct? For the dessert? Man, the smell coming off of that joint was...
Yeah. And then save room for dessert. The cheesecake is absolutely aces. So.
I will attest. YouTube Trev as well, and just going off of this tangent here, you had a rather interesting... You hit me with the question yesterday for the big game, Canada and in Sweden. You know, I said, what are you doing? Are you going out? You know, this is a big event. And you said, well, no, I'm staying at home alone, but you're going to cook. And you do like to cook. But you had the option of steak and or salmon. I said, do both. Did you indeed do both last night?
In a twist, yeah, I kind of did. It was interesting because I was getting ready to make supper and I get a call from my uncle, who I don't see that much. And he's like, hey, I'm just leaving Edmonton. I was here all day. Would you want to go for supper?
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? I haven't seen you in a minute. Let's do it. I'll have steak and salmon another day. So the place we go at, just surely enough, steak's on special, $5 off. I look, there's a steak and sushi. So the sushi, I got the spicy salmon roll. So I had steak and salmon, essentially. Yeah. So it was a great supper.
An indirect route to exactly what you suggested.
And you still have your main ingredients probably at home that you can have another one.
I went grocery shopping yesterday for so it's funny how the world works.
Things are turning up, Trev.
In a different way, I had what I wanted.
Wow.
Differently. Yeah.
Well, I think I may have an idea of where this is. I'm going to guess and tell you off air. You can let me know if I'm right.
Thank you.
Well, how's your uncle, by the way?
How's my uncle?
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
Everything's going well for him?
His what?
Everything's going well for him?
Yes. Yeah. Very well. He's in Edmonton for business. He has business here, so
yeah. He goes by Papa Bear, actually.
That's Papa Bear?
No.
I know your uncle very well.
No.
Well, that's what you're asking. I thought you kind of, how is he doing?
Yeah.
You know, you followed it up with that.
Yeah, I should have known from the mustache. I've seen that before.
Will he be here for the Bonspiel on the weekend as well?
No, he will not be.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was a really good sup.
Good. That's great.
I loved it.
Question number 2. If you could pick one player off this Canada team at the Four Nations that you could realistically see being a member of the Oilers following the trade deadline, who would it be?
Colton Parayko.
Yeah, that's the easy.
With a bullet.
You took the path, I know.
Yeah,
I was looking for more of a dreamer.
Yeah. But you said realistically.
I know, but... okay, let's realistically and in a fantasy world.
Okay, give me the fantasy one.
And not so that you just pluck them off the roster, but actually making a deal somewhat work. If cap and everything involved.
Yeah.
Trev, do you have a name?
Yeah. Who's jumping out at you?
Realistically?
Yeah.
I don't... The most realistic is Colton Parayko. That's the only one you can kind of
with a bullet,
link
right?
to. Yeah, it's not even close. You can't afford anyone.
And
really.
We're just talking about Team Canada. Right?
Brad Marchand, anyone?
I mean, that's never gonna.
It's an interesting idea. It just
sign me up for Brad Marchand on the Oilers. I just don't think the
Oilers can
do it.
Offer as much to Boston as other teams would.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I look at the goalies. Aiden Hill's not going anywhere. Vegas isn't doing anything there. Bennington.
Yeah,
maybe question mark.
If I'm St. Louis, I'm taking calls.
Yeah, I'd take a call. But I think the two Blues, Bennington and Parayko.
Future Oiler Mitch Marner, anybody?
Sure, man.
That's not realistic, but again, sign me up.
Yep.
He and Rantanen are coming to Edmonton. Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Serious?
Marchand would be ideal here in April. Penner's Pancakes says nobody went for the Crosby take, hey?
I mean, I'd love that.
This is a fantasy question. None of it's going to happen.
He's actually one of the most affordable of
He
the
is.
guys,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Like he actually might be.
Like when you talk about salary cap crunch and who would you have to move the least around for, Sidney Crosby would be near the top of
and
that
he
list.
wouldn't then go to Colorado, nor would he go to Vegas or any of the other line mates that he's playing with right now that could maybe take a swing within this conference to add and prevent use. So I don't know. It's always it's a fantasy tournament and it's a fantasy question. But Parayko, yeah.
I like that, though.
It's the easy
Parayko's
answer.
good.
Yeah, it's the easy answer. And question number 3, boys. Pitchers and catchers reporting. If you could spend one preseason at one location, what would it be? Cactus League or Grapefruit League?
Grapefruit League, it would be Dunedin, Florida.
Get out of here.
It is Jays and Yankees. They basically are right next to each other. That'd be the most ideal.
You took me a
place.
step to the actual training ground, but I'm just looking for that kind of desert motif compared to and you'd go Florida.
Yeah. Florida, first of all, it's a tighter group, so like there's less driving involved, and it's a vibe. Any guy that I've talked to that has done the spring trainings, they rave about Florida in spring training. That it is just so late. Not that Arizona isn't, but Arizona is much more. Each team is kind of its own island, whereas in Florida, they kind of it's more homogenous. They all blend together.
Yeah, a little more miles on the golf cart in the Cactus League than there would be in the Grapefruit League. Trev, what do you like better, Florida or the desert there? If you were going to watch preseason ball.
It is a dream of mine to spend.
I'd love to go to both.
To spend a spring in Florida.
You can have a preference, but I think both would be just for their own reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my dad did Florida, I think 2 seasons ago. He said it was
type of
unreal.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he said it was awesome.
Yeah.
He was sending me photos every day.
Yeah.
It looked pretty legit. It looked awesome. So I agree with Will.
And those facilities are just historic too, right? Yeah. Like when you're dealing with a facility that saw Mickey Mantle go through it, like, you know what I mean? Like it's a special place.
There's 3 questions too many. Brought to you by Park Mazda. Check out Mitch Lewicki, dealer principal and the gang down at Park Mazda today in Sherwood Park or online at parkmazda.ca. We do have Dave Naylor coming up in about 10 minutes here. Let's get into Fired Up right now for Gemco Fireplaces. Fired Up, it's pretty obvious where we're fired up for, and that was following last night's events, but Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton area for 45 years. They are the authorized dealer for Napoleon fireplaces. Whether it's gas, wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon Fireplaces, all the Napoleon products that you need, available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street. Fired Up, I guess Trev can put himself on the camera here if you want to take the full shot and just show your jersey. You are fired up. This is Canada. This is hockey. Sid the Kid, Captain Canada, Canada Cup, best of the best on best. Give me more here. Say more. Travis Konechny.
Yeah, so much Travis Konechny. Aiden Hill.
Yeah, look, we'll be that you can.
Montembeau.
Yes.
Montembeau.
I thought they were chanting hockey when they had the Crosby chant going. I thought that was rather
the
cute.
Quebec accent.
Yeah, hockey. Ole. But yes, getting back to the game as well, and we've gone some other places this morning. Do forgive us. But I think it's neat now that it's Thursday. You're off the hump day. You're heading into a weekend in which I know this doesn't excite people, but the Scotties Tournament of Hearts gets underway tomorrow. That's a big event in my household. We have our EST Fun Spiel Saturday at the Shamrock.
It's why they're not playing games on Friday, because they wanted to make room for the Scotties.
Sure. The NBA ain't scared. The NBA ain't scared. All-Star Weekend as well coming up. But I just, it's fired up in a fact that certain things can happen at certain times. And I think the beauty of this game going on last night and us talking about it today and getting another one tonight and obviously looking forward to Saturday's game is it kind of goes in on a weekend. And you brought up the weather earlier, that it gets people a little ornery, especially this late in the winter season and calendar, that it's still this cold. But I think from what we saw last night, especially the game ending how it did in overtime fashion, I mean, thrilling. We could just talk about 3-on-3 for 10 minutes and that'll get you fired up. And I know a lot of people are clamoring for that to be a thing moving forward. Maybe that is a experiment that gets used more. But just the general vibe of it, you got to be fired up. If you aren't, what do they say? Check your pulse, right? That type of thing. So I think, given the events of last night, the fact how it started, how Sweden grew into the game, we talk about World Junior so much, and sometimes that yes, the kids donned the maple leaf for that tournament as well. But when you're waxing, Armenia by a score of 15 to -5. It does lose a bit of luster. Sweden have the best of their best.
Yep.
They are coached astutely. They don't lose focus, and it would have been very easy to wobble off of that pedestal last night, given the way things started. They grow back into the game. Things get a little nervy, which, and that's another thing with Canada hockey is I don't want to see total domination all the time, nor should you. You want to have a challenge. You want to not only be the best, but go through a bit of a ringer. So you can truly say that, hey, we were challenged.
You want drama.
If I have a POG championship in my basement against my 87-year-old geriatric neighbor and I wax the floor with her, I can't just go and claim I'm champion of West Edmonton. It takes a little more. You want to go through some opponents, some real skills, some toughness. And I think Sweden, again, credit to them for not hanging their heads or dropping their shoulders.
They didn't go away.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't go away.
No.
If Marner doesn't score, if let's say what
are we talking? Take us to that universe.
Let's say Sweden scores 3 minutes into overtime and makes it a 4-3 game. The talk is about an incredible comeback, and it's about that Philip Gustafsson save with, what was it, 6 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go? That's the story. Because up until that Mitch Marner goal, that was the story.
Well, he will get raked over the coals. There will be a goaltending controversy.
Yep.
There will be, what does Cooper do now? I think, too, and no offense to Shay Theodore, it will be a miss regardless, but that injury probably gets a little more talk time due to the fact of, they lost. Now what do they do now? A man down. And in a tournament as tight as this with the scheduling, I mean, I've always been fired up against tournaments such as the Memorial Cup or the University Cup, where you slog for months through these long, arduous series to get to a small little tournament where you have no book on the opposition, and you have to go out game one, and basically if you stumble or trip, your tournament's almost hanging in half of a doubt.
Yeah, you're right. Those tournaments, the actual problem with those tournaments is that they take away from the achievement of reaching it.
Yes. Totally.
Like when you talk about
WHL champion should be that's
a monster achievement.
Huge.
And if you go and embarrass yourself at the Memorial Cup, it kind of goes by the wayside. And you're right, same thing. You come out of Canada West in the CIS, you've run the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And then you get to University Cup and have
you're
one
playing
bad
at 9
period.
in the morning against,
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That there is a flaw in these major tournaments in that it doesn't properly represent the sacrifice that it took to get there.
Am I being greedy? But if we could have gotten one exhibition game in this tournament, just to get your feet under you, just to again, I know they practiced, but and then you don't have to go so hard in that one. You'd be forgiven if you just kind of, and felt things out but last night again, and somebody, Kyle Lienbaumer, we were talking about how selfish McKinnon is. And that was another thing. He really wanted that one. He wanted to be the guy in overtime. And,
right?
And so should he. I mean, they're all big alpha guys.
It glosses over a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what winning does.
But in
that's what's
window.
so great about winning is that you don't have to focus on the smaller mistakes like you do in an 82-game regular season, right? That you can have your whole, the Oilers can win 4-3 in overtime in this town, and there's plenty to worry about.
Sure.
Right? That you'll look at a blown
but you've got a big long
you'll look at all that and go, oh, does this come back to haunt us later in a season? But in a short tournament like that, you're right. You can throw it all in the waste bin.
Because I do wonder, and I'm not slagging the tournament at all, don't get me wrong here, but whoever emerges as the winner of this tournament, you're going to look back at moments and nights where, again, if this was played in Gothenburg, maybe that's the small little decider that switches a very tight game and could make a difference in terms of, again, now Sweden's backs are against the wall. They have to do, some things to get where they need to go to win this tournament. But it is funny. Can you really crown somebody a champion? I know we're getting the best of best hockey, and I think that's really what people care about at the end of the day. Watching this as opposed to, I hope Canada takes home the Mario Lemieux trophy. But the margins of error, they don't exist. It's not that they're thin. There just aren't any.
Yeah. There's no room.
None at all.
There's no room to waste any of your outings out there. And the other thing is you could be a Canada. You could go undefeated into a final and still get embarrassed.
Where's the final?
Right.
Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me plays a huge part as well. And that could be an ultimate decider in one of these things. Sweden are a good team, have a better defense than Canada. Would not have been an upset if Canada lost. No, I don't think we're saying that either. But I think Canada...
It would have been in the way that they lost. That would have been the story.
And it's in Canada. It's in Montreal. It's a tournament kicker-off, right? I think it would be seen as a bit of an upset if Sweden...
They had a 2-goal lead going into the third period.
Yes. One more would have maybe...
Right? 2-goal lead. If they lose that thing in overtime, we're talking about a choke job. Right? We don't care about that first power play goal.
No, it all goes by the wayside.
Right? All we care about.
And why couldn't they have replicated that? Because it did, again, credit to Sweden for getting and growing back into the game, but you didn't really see that energy from like off the hop. Like they came out of their guns a-blazing, right? And then as the game kind of went on,
it regressed.
You know. And again, I'm not saying regression to they're still the best, but it's just weird. It's a funny tournament, and it'll be weird to kind of watch how it all goes. But again, no margins at all for error.
But it does kind of bring up the idea that it is worth watching. Like no one's asking.
That's why.
No one's asking you for an investment here. Right?
No.
They're saying we've got however, like, what is it, 6 games total? 5 games total? Like we've got just a certain set amount of games. You're going to want to watch every single one because between potential for injury and the potential for greatness, there's a reason to tune in.
Yes, yeah. Pat in the county says, hey, LTE, a win is a win.
Yeah.
Yes. And especially in a tournament such as this, it doesn't really matter how, but it's just so funny that if that win was not,
But win is a win only applies to this tournament.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
A win is a win only applies to this tournament.
It really doesn't matter how you get it.
It only applies to a Stanley Cup Game 7.
There's the momentum even maybe doesn't even exist, you could argue.
Yeah.
You're coming up against a different country each and every night that you'll never see probably again.
Right.
780-218-9999. Great chat. Once again, we are fired up for Gemco Fireplaces of the tournament right now. I know RCN was saying it, but I didn't think that they would look that good when you put the 3 best players together on the line.
That maybe points to more of a lack of imagination than anything.
We got Dave Naylor coming up, CFL on TSN. He's going to explore CFL free agency for us. We'll get his thoughts on some of the winners, the losers, and of course, we'll get his thoughts on the Four Nations face-off as well. And Super Bowl. Maybe we'll backtrack a bit for Super Bowl with him as well. See what he thought of Kendrick Lamar's diss party there.
Okay.
We haven't had your breakdown of the whole halftime show. I know you did a 40-minute video.
Yeah.
Explaining all the...
I live streamed it. Lip synced it.
Yeah,
I did everything.
Yeah. You even did the sea walk.
Yeah.
Did you not?
Yeah. My threads is nothing more than me breaking down every single dance move.
Threads.
Yeah.
Nielson Show, Dustin Nielson off field today. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser.
It.
We're trying to keep YouTube Trev alive over there. I think he's getting a little entertained, but he's got a sports update here right now for Sit and Sleep. Sit and Sleep. We'll have more on that. And again, Naylor, Marmot Basin Snow Report, and the wrap for William Huff all on the way as we wrap up hour number 3 here on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, edmontonsportstalk.com.
Mitch Marner, who got the overtime winner in a 4-3 match that saw Canada beat Sweden in Game 1 of the Four Nations face-off. Sidney Crosby was awarded the player of the game as he chimed in with 3 apples. But it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows as Canadian defenseman Shay Theodore has been ruled out for the entire tournament after he sustained a wrist injury in the first period. Canada will be back in action on Saturday when they take on the Americans. Puck drop for this one goes at 6 o'clock. And only one game in the Four Nations tonight, which sees Team USA take on Finland at 6. Just 3 games last night in the WHL, which saw the Oil Kings get the job done with a 5-2 victory over the Pats. The Tigers prevail against the Raiders. 3-1 is your score, and the Lethbridge Hurricanes rally with a 3-1 win over the Red Deer Rebels. The Oil Kings will be back in action on Friday when they will take on the Red Deer Rebels. Off the ice and on the court we go. Denver Nuggets Jamal Murray sets a Canadian scoring record with 55 points versus the Trailblazers en route to a 132-121 victory. 14 other games dot the schedule in the association last night, which saw RJ Barrett lead the way for the Raptors with 27 points. But it wasn't enough as the Raps fall to the East leading Cavaliers 131-108. The Jazz defeat the Lakers 131-119. The Mavs hold on with a 111-107 win over the Warriors. And the league-leading Thunder stay red hot with a win over the Heat. 115-101 is the score in that one. Tonight, there's just 5 games in the association. Sit and Sleep is currently offering a winter clearance event. From massive discounts on major sleep brands to unbeatable deals on Canadian-made custom furniture, our winter clearance event is your chance to transform your home at a fraction of the cost. Plus, enjoy perks like free local white glove delivery and special financing offers that make it even easier to bring your home the best. Visit us today in South Common next to Planet Fitness.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.34 on the Nielson Show, presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot. Check the team out in Fort Saskatchewan or online, www.southfortchevrolet.com. A big good morning to everybody. If you are listening on the iHeart, TuneIn radio apps or watching live on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, give us a like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll have the wrap coming up for William Huff to wrap up the show as usual. And as well, the Marmot Basin Snow Report. I see that is in. We'll let you know what's going on up at the hill. And right now, though, in a matter of minutes, it looks like he's ready to go there in the bullpen. But Dave Naylor from the CFL on TSN, gracious enough to share some of his time and discuss a little CFL free agency as we've exited the tampering window and gotten into the free agency period where things are made official. We'll get his thoughts on that, maybe a quick Super Bowl recap as well, and get his thoughts.
He randomly just disconnected, but I'm assuming he will be back.
He likes to do that. It's all theatrics with Dave.
I think
he's a real showman. He likes to kind of
teasing.
Yeah. What was his background? Was it a tropical locale or?
It looked like a kitchen.
A kitchen, okay.
A tropical kitchen?
Dave will be joining us right back right soon. There he is. I see it was for theatrics. He's a showman.
And then he disconnected again.
The nail gun. We'll get his thoughts too on Four Nations. There I hear you. Yeah, flew too close to the sun, Dave. Look, thanks again for joining us today, and we'll focus on the CFL, but just your quick thoughts, both on last night we finally got to see Sid, McDavid, McKinnon, the whole bit, Canada overtime. I mean, a theatrical style to kick off the Four Nations, and also if you could provide us with a bit of a Super Bowl recap as well to kind of kick off your hit here.
I have a bit of a yin-yang on last night's hockey game. One is, it was great to see international hockey and this generation of Canadian players who've never played with the Maple Leaf together on the ice. But you know what also it does? It kind of reminds you of the ordinariness of the NHL regular season. When you see a game like that, you're like, oh yeah, this is what, intense hockey looks like. So yeah, no, it was, and look, it followed the script, right? You get the overtime winner. Leaf fans get their Marner goal. But no, I think international hockey, and I'm somebody who was lucky enough I covered I covered a Canada Cup in my very first year in this business when I was like 23, 24 years old in Hamilton in 91 with 18-year-old Eric Lindros on that team. I think Steve Larmer scored the winning goal, if I remember correct, at Copps Coliseum. So I got to cover some international hockey early in my career. And I was sitting in the bowl, when Sidney Crosby scored. That was wild because I was getting texts like from people in Europe, about the game. I'm like, yeah, I'm in row 9, like it's so yeah, I just think it just reminds us a little bit of how much we miss that kind of thing. And you think of how strange it is, when international hockey became a big thing in the 1970s, and then they pushed it into the Olympics in the 1990s, that's something that has been so well received and successful basically doesn't happen anymore. So it, except for this, or hasn't happened in this era. So great to see that last night. Super Bowl thought. Okay, here's my Super Bowl thought. Ready? If I had told you that Kansas City's first half would look like this: punt, 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 interception, punt, interception, punt. What odds would you have given me on that? 7 possessions, 5 punts, 2 picks.
And one of those picks as well, right? It was the pick six. Yeah.
I mean, I'm always fascinated in sports when teams do things in big games that they have either never done that season or never done at all. And that's the thing that I think really, look, I'm not trying to tear down Patrick Mahomes' legacy here, right? But that's one of the worst offensive half, if not the worst offensive half of football we've ever seen in a Super Bowl. And when you think about it now, it just, the game changed the narratives on the Chiefs so much, because if they'd won, right, it's like, okay, Patrick Mahomes has 4 Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady didn't get 4 until he was 35. The Chiefs are the first team to win 3. They've won 4 in 6 years, all these things. Instead now, the Chiefs are 3-2 in Super Bowls. The last 2 that they won by the thinnest of margins, and the 2 that they lost, they sucked in both of them, especially the last. I mean, that is an historic sucking in that game. I'll give Philadelphia credit. They exploited what a lot of people saw on paper from the Chiefs all year, which was vulnerability on the offensive line, and that if you could get pressure without having to blitz and still be able to cover with 7 and get 4 with pressure with 4, you had a chance. That's kind of what Buffalo, I think, dreamed of doing. And you saw what it looked like when Philadelphia did it. But no, absolutely stunning result. Just the first half, I still can't process.
Well, it didn't suck was the free agency window, the tampering window, and now free agency that it's open here in this market for the Elks, Dave. And I just... Sometimes when we look at CFL free agency, I mean, it's not a 2+2 equation to win a Grey Cup. Obviously, other things need to happen. This organization has been through the ringer, new front office, management, coaching, the whole bit. But where are you at in CFL free agency when it comes to like a quantity over quality? And I know that the Elks certainly got the quantity. In your mind, did they also check the box of quality where they needed it?
Yeah, because I think they spent most of their money on Canadians. If you look at, Keelan Julian Grant, Robbie Smith, Royce Metchie, David Beard, Terrell Ford. I mean, those are premier Canadian players. And the reason you spend your money in free agency is supply and demand, right? You can let an American go and maybe be able to find somebody who was in college football last year or cut from the NFL or on a practice roster in the CFL somewhere who might be able to come in just because, and it's just a pure numbers thing. It's just a pure availability and numbers. In Canada, once the premier players are gone, you're not going to have any pop out of a crack in the sidewalk, come in the season. It's just rare. This is, if you're going to buy value in the best Canadians, this is the time of year to do it. Now, all that said, I think it's really hard to add this many players through free agency and see it all come together in one season. I think historically, there's not a lot of track record of that, whether you're looking at examples in the NFL or in the CFL. But I think it shows you that Edmonton is done sort of rebuilding, that they're now trying to, I think, also become, a destination for players a little bit, and in the way they haven't been. They've repatriated players, either bringing back a guy who's an Albertan like David Beard, or attracting guys like Terrell Ford to play with his brother, or bringing Jake Ceresna back. I mean, it sort of turned. I think it sort of the impression that the rest of the league gets from Edmonton, is different this time as well. But it is a lot, and I generally don't judge free agency by volume. And I think the other thing is when we look at and this is why I actually don't like putting grades on winners or losers in free agency for two reasons. One is teams have such different hands, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the Montreal Alouettes free agent buying right now, you say, well, they get the big loser. Well, they won the East Division last year, won the Grey Cup the year before. Had a roster that had turned over pretty recently before that. So where's their energy going? Re-signing guys, right? A lot of times going out and buying players on the market is an indication that your roster is not very good. And that's why, it's no question that the two most aggressive teams, I think, have been Hamilton and Edmonton. What do they have in common? They both missed the playoffs last year, and they both have new GMs, right? So that makes sense. And I for context, I always bring it up. The team that would have got the big L in free agency last year from us, from the players that they lost and didn't add, that would have been the Toronto Argonauts. They won the Grey Cup. 2 years ago, the team that would have got the big L, the Montreal Alouettes. Like, they had their quarterback and the best receiver in the league walk out of the door, won the Grey Cup. So, I think it's an important in roster construction, but I find there's very little correlation between winning the February free agency period and winning the Grey Cup.
Yeah, you mentioned every organization enters into this time with a different hand in what they're holding. But just back to the Elks too, and I look at some of these players and names and even positions, and I think maybe the pull of a Demetrius Maxey would lead a few guys to saying, okay, I'm going to follow coach. I'm going to, but you're dialed.
In Jake Seresna's case, you're absolutely right. I look at those things, but also, Dave, like,
it can't all be Demetrius Maxey, but what would you say is, like, in hearing from people around the league, because we've heard when Mark Killam was hired, it took maybe a few of us by surprise in terms of name recognition and experience in terms of the head coaching spot, but he got a vote of confidence from players around the league. So is it just Ed Hervey's aggressive pursuit of these guys, which he's known to do? Is it the attractiveness of a fresh project like Mark Killam, or is it more situational when it comes to, again, defensive lineman and Maxey and maybe Trey Ford bringing offensive guys in or something?
Well, I'll throw in all of those, and I'll throw in one more. I agree. Mark Killam has a tremendous tremendous reputation among players, no question. And you saw that when he was hired, as you mentioned, guys coming out and speaking on his behalf. I think that meant a lot to him. I think it meant a lot to the organization. Ultimately, in a league with very loose free agency, having coaches that people want to play for matters. Demetrius Maxey, as you mentioned, a guy who had a history in Edmonton. Was with Seresna in Toronto, and then he's back in Edmonton, and so is Seresna. And the other thing about Ed Hervey is, like, for a guy who played receiver, I know his philosophy on team building is more about the trenches than it is the edges, right? On that, yeah. So I think you can see that reflected. But to be blunt about it, they've paid people more than other people were offered. There's now not in every circumstance. Toronto put $275 in front of Jake Seresna, which I think would make him the second highest paid defensive player in CFL history. My colleague Davis Sanchez back in 2003 got paid more money in the CFL to leave the NFL. We always kind of joke him, hey man, you never got cut in the NFL. You came back to Canada for more money. He was making like 3+ in like 2003 in Calgary. So, but yeah, $275,000 with $150,000 signing bonus is a great contract. And I think Toronto came back to that one sort of at the end of the window, once that extra money had been announced. I don't know if that played into it, but they get a 48-hour exclusive period at the end. But that's the one where, he left some money on the table in terms of the contract to go back to Edmonton. But other guys, Robbie Smith got paid top of the market.
Yep.
David Beard, I'm sure did. Terrell Ford certainly did. That's what you can do when you've got a roster that you're turning over, because you're not in that boat of trying to carry over as many players as you can from the year before. They signed Niles Morgan, which was a great one as well. But that's the advantage of being a roster that you're turning over, is you can make those stabs where other teams just can't compete with you when they're trying to keep so much of their roster together.
Yeah, and one more for you. I know you didn't want to get into winners and losers, but in terms of you and I guess, shall we say, surprises at either action or inaction from a GM or a club, which kind of stood out to you so far?
Maybe Calgary a little bit. Just, again, non-playoff year. adding Vernon Adams and then expecting them to kind of land one of those targets that were out on the market, the Kenny Lawler, Gino Lewis, even an Alexander Hollins, and I know he's still out there, I believe. So they got Dominique Rimes, but I mean, he was a guy who'd been cut in Ottawa.
Yeah.
I know that, he has a history with VA, right? And VA likes bigger receivers. That's also just a like there as well. But I thought Calgary, but it's funny. It's not the way Dave Dickinson has ever had to do business before, right? Because he's never been on the outside of the playoffs moving in. And I don't know whether philosophically, you're going to shift the way you've always built teams just because you're outside of the playoffs one year. There's certainly going to be some pressure to win, and they have made some improvements on the roster and made some changes before free agency. But the fact that Calgary wasn't a little louder kind of surprised me a little bit. The other one I found kind of interesting was Winnipeg getting involved in free agency for the first time in a long time. It seems like they've been sitting on the sidelines forever on that. And now, age is creeping into their roster. You've seen them let guys go over the last couple of years. You still got guys they're paying to retain. And they didn't jump in at the top of the market. They kind of went value hunting, right? And you look at the guys that, they've added, like a Reggie White coming off injuries, right? Jareth Stearns, who I thought, has certainly flashed for the Saskatchewan Roughriders at times. Looks like a guy who can, again, yards after catch guy in a big field. They added, of course, Dylan Mitchell. They added Gavin Cobb from Edmonton. So just seeing Winnipeg getting involved and like their roster has not had a lot of guys, who had significant experience from other CFL teams. Obviously Zach Caleros, Andrew Harris, and Adam Bighill were exceptions. Those were the building blocks. But as they've gone into the market every year, they've been mostly about, finding their own guys and dealing and trying to keep their own guys. And I thought a little different approach from them this year, just to try to get that sort of CFL experience on their roster as they go through some transitions.
Outstanding stuff, Dave. We really appreciate your time this morning and giving an insight on the free agency. A couple of months and change, I guess, away when things really start getting going and in training camps and such. Can't wait. Thanks again for your time today, Dave.
I tell you, man, there's not much offseason in football. About less than 2 weeks from now, I'll be at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. Yeah. And about 2.5 weeks after that, I'll be at the CFL Combine in Regina. So
it's the beauty of having both leagues to be a fan of, right? It just never ends. Yeah.
It never ends. No, exactly. Thanks, guys.
There it is. Dave Naylor, CFL on TSN. We appreciate his time this morning, coming to you from a tropical kitchen, as we kind of put it there. Always the showman. Let's get going here. It is the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser, YouTube channel with the Marmot Basin Snow Report. Thank you to Kelsey for sending this by. We don't have the techno bed we usually do, and that's okay. Dustin's not here, and you can't replicate a show. I tried to do the Mr. Mike's impression earlier. That went over like a lead balloon.
Flat.
Yeah, exactly. So why do that, eh?
It was no tropical kitchen, that's for sure.
I tell you that much.
Yeah.
So, Trev, you'll provide me with a bed here. Yeah, this is tough. This is Papa Bear music, eh?
This is shredding the gnar.
This is shredding the gnar indeed. Good morning, Kelsey says, from Marmot Basin. We received another centimeter of snow overnight. A nice sunrise this morning, setting up for a beautiful bluebird day on the mountain. Temperatures on the cooler side. Nothing a few layers and a hot beverage in the chalet can't solve. All chairs should be running today. However, there may be a delay on the knob chair. 14 runs groomed, so there'll be some great corduroy laps on the mountain today. I learned that term the other day. We've got live music this weekend in the Caribou Lounge at the Lower Chalet and a featured Valentine's Day cocktail. And our Eagle Restaurant at Mid-Mountain will be open starting tomorrow until Sunday. So take advantage for more runs and pop in to refuel right on the mountain. Why not take your honey up there and spend a little Valentine's up at Marmot? Some great deals and features and music and all that going on up at Marmot Basin starting today and this weekend. So give yourself a little time. It is the long weekend. Get the Monday off.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
Do you have
This is like an anaconda taking down a pig.
That's okay. Do it again. This is game one of the Four Nations. We can afford to...
Yeah. Who is he? Team Sweden? He's waiting for the third period?
This is like an anaconda taking down a pig.
You know that voice, eh?
Oh. Yes, I do.
And the terminology.
I also know what that looks like.
There's a Papa Bear joke in here, but we don't need to get into that. Let's get into, though, the wrap for William Huff. If you want your place to look as good as ours, check out the team at WilliamHuff.com. Bruce and the crew been doing this for since 1952, so you know they're incredible what they do. WilliamHuff.com. What did we learn on the show today, boys? I learned. Can I?
Yeah, give it to us.
I was wrong yesterday in questioning the integrity and the talent of this tournament. I didn't know that these players combined on a team with a nation that invests the most in the sport would look that good. I was curious as to what it would look like, but I didn't know it was...
Takes a big man to admit when he was wrong.
Thank you.
So I
Lieutenant
appreciate
Eric,
that.
YouTube Trev doesn't agree. He doesn't think I was wrong, but I was wrong.
I'm just proud of you. That's all. Like
I'm not proud of myself.
No, but I'm proud of you.
What did you boys learn today? I learned that you know Trev's uncle.
Yeah, do I?
Yeah. Trev?
What did I learn, boys? What did I learn?
It's okay if you didn't. It was a very boring program with Will
Gregor
and I
McKellar.
doing. Yeah.
Bagpipes.
He's a bagpiper.
I learned that Trevor's just drowning in steak and seafood. Like
he's eating good.
He had salmon and steak to choose
so now you're
from.
going to be making that tonight, right?
Didn't make it. Went out and still got steak and
now he
seafood.
gets it tonight.
And now he gets to have
special.
more. The guy's just like he's living the life.
I put on
living.
additional 13 pounds since I've been in my new place.
That's a lot, bud.
I know, but it's
He's
like
loading up.
Like I don't.
And now I know why you're wearing jerseys all the time.
I don't
Okay.
look too bad, but I am. I know
Yeah.
my
Oh yeah.
double chin's
You're
coming in
adding a
little
chin
bit
there.
more.
Trust me, as a man who
Double
has
chin on
fashioned
my bum
a chin
chin.
from time to time, it's coming in nice. Yeah.
My chin?
Yeah. Both of them.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Looney Lynn says, I was hoping for more dynamic zone entries. I thought that would be a thing that it just became a lot of dumping and chase, which I found disappointing, my only critique. That won't win you text of the day today, although we do appreciate the chiming in of that. But see, there's some people that it's not such a great tournament for old Looney Len there, is it?
Yeah.
Too much dumping and chasing.
What happened to the days where it was all we talked about was how do you break the left wing lock? You know what they need to do? They need to, it feels like we were just being entertained by entertainment. So that was nice. That was something I learned.
Miranda in YYC says, good morning, guys. Did you say port flights? Where did you get that? I'm a huge fan of port, but I've never seen a flight. Miranda in YYC.
Barbacoa.
Barbacoa, Spruce Grove, the south side of the highway.
I like that word.
I'm still baffled that there's a second part of Spruce Grove there. Right?
Yeah. Well, I warned you before I took you there. I was like, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
And I think I delivered on the pretty weird part.
Text the day today will... I want to give it to Northside Sandwich, but I just can't repeat the text for the life of me. Northside Sandwich, you know what you texted in. You won
know
text
what
today
you did.
in my heart here.
You know what you did.
In my heart you won.
Dirty bird.
Do you have one, Trev? Did you see anything that stuck out to you in the Paris Jewelers inbox this morning? Sending somebody to A&W? Rams fan, Wil Fraser on the morning show. I'm stoked. You stoked? So stoked. He incorporates a clip. We're near the Marmot Basin Snow Report. Let's give it to Rams fan. You're off to A&W. We'll be reaching out shortly. $20 to A&W for text of the day. 8:54. What do we watch tonight, boys?
USA, Finland.
Boom. There you go. It's an easy answer. Four Nations face off. I'll be back tomorrow. Trev will be back tomorrow.
We'll see, right?
We'll see about old Will.
Yeah.
Will.
Dustin Nielsen, we wish you get well. The year of the cough. We're thinking of you, and we love you. For all the guests, Dave Naylor, Luke Gazdic, Gregor McKellar, outstanding new offensive lineman for the Elks, and all of our sponsors this morning. This has been the Nielsen Show with Wil Fraser and YouTube Trev. I'm Lieutenant Eric. Hangouts coming up next, 9 to 11 with Matthew Iwanek and Tom Gazzola. So stay tuned for that. And Dustin, get better. We love you.